Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. Going to be tracking temperatures climbing towards the lower 80s this afternoon. Could see a few isolated storms, nothing too impressive. Until we head off into late Friday night, early Saturday morning, could see some widespread showers and storms pulling back in from the west. Some of those could have some stronger winds. We'll continue to keep a close eye on those storms. Eventually showers into Saturday, clearing by the afternoon hours. And Easter Sunday, things are looking drier. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures only reaching back towards around the 60-degree mark. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
All the cool people are listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. So, congratulations.
Okay, friends, we did it. We made it to the end of the week. It is Flashback Friday. Hey, good morning. Mike Ferguson here. You know, as always, I really enjoy finding out what you picked for the bump music. And just to reiterate, I truly have no idea which songs that you have picked. Jerome surprises me with those the same time he surprises you with them. So I appreciate everybody kind of jumping on board this. It's been a lot of fun over the years. Okay, this week, let's say, we are now 1 year into President Trump's so-called Liberation Day tariffs. Now, you know what I think. I'm not a fan. Tariffs are taxes. I don't want higher taxes. And I don't think that they're a good policy decision. I just think he's wrong about them. A lot of people disagree with me on the right. The reviews and the studies and the results have been kind of mixed, both in the courts and economically. So what's the overall impact on our lives? Not on the politics, but on our lives. Well, our friends at the National Taxpayers Union, Brian Riley, was with us on Thursday's program, kind of assessing where we are 1 year in.
I have a feeling that you and I are going to see this in a pretty similar way, but we also know that among those on the right, there's a lot of people who aren't going to see it the same way that we see it. I referred to them early on, Liberation Day taxes, because that's what tariffs are. A lot of people say, no, these are tariffs, and look at how much money the government's collected. It's obviously been good for us because we're changing, manufacturing and all this sort of thing. Let's lay out the bottom line. We're 1 year into this. What has been the most direct impact of the sort of trade war that was started with some of these tax policies?
Well, in my opinion, the most direct impact was about $200 billion in taxes, mostly paid by Americans, whether importers or consumers. So I certainly noticed when you described this as Liberation Day tax anniversary. Tariffs are literally by definition a tax on imports. So a lot of taxes, that's the most significant thing from the National Taxpayers Union's standpoint. But the other thing that I think is so important, the whole justification for the taxes was allegedly we have these huge costly trade deficits, and we've got to get rid of trade deficits. And guess what? Our trade deficit got bigger. And most people, I think, that understand how this stuff works would not particularly be surprised by that. If you ask me, if the goal of the taxes was to reduce the trade deficit and it didn't work, maybe we ought to get rid of the taxes instead of, coming up with new excuses to extend them.
Good morning, Brian. This is Susie Moore. So I have it was probably a layperson's question about tariffs and taxes. My limited understanding is that, and when you're talking about taxation, which let's just acknowledge is a negative but is a necessary evil in some respects, it's preferable to have consumption taxes over income taxes or wealth taxes, something that taxes consumption rather than productivity, so to speak. So if someone is arguing that a consumption tax is preferable to an income tax, why then are tariffs, even if they're taxes, aren't they essentially consumption taxes?
They are absolutely a form of consumption tax. So they could be supported based on the description that you accurately provided, with one big exception. Most economists, if you're going to go visit an economist class, public finance class, they're going to say consumption taxes are good as long as they're broad-based and affect everybody equally. These import taxes are not broad-based. They pick winners and losers, and they distort the economy by only hitting certain goods and not all goods. These consumption taxes also have an additional cost to Americans, where they're not just a tax on imports, but they affect U.S. exporters. So if you're, say, a soybean farmer in Missouri or Illinois or wherever, you have fewer export markets. Not only are you paying more for your inputs, but you can't export as much. So that's why, although you're correct, these are a consumption tax. I just don't think they're a very good consumption tax. It's tough to get into a debate on what's the best type of tax. When to me the big problem is the government spends too much money.
Sure.
But I do hear people who say we want these taxes to fund the government. Well, that's going to be a difficult challenge if we go down that road.
There are probably some people, Brian, who, when you said our trade deficit got worse, who would say, how is that even possible? Because we heard so many stories in either local media or conservative media about saying, well, to avoid the taxes, this company is going to start manufacturing here. This company is not going to start, or they're going to stop exporting whatever things, contractors or sourcing or parts or whatever the case is. So we've seen some news stories saying, no, but wait a minute, the protectionism is actually worsening. How much did the trade deficit change? Which, by the way, I'm one of those, I don't really care that much about the trade deficit. That just means we're buying stuff cheaper for what we need here. But how much did it change and why? Why would the tariffs have that adverse effect from what we were told they were supposed to do?
Right. I mean, I should have said, you're 100% accurate. I should have said the trade deficit got bigger, not that it got worse, because a bigger trade deficit in and of itself just reflects other factors. If we're richer, we can afford to import more. If our trading partners want to invest in our economy, invest in the stock market, build automobile factories, that all benefits us regardless of the impact on the trade deficit. So the deficit went up a little bit. It didn't go up a lot. But the fact that it went up when the entire focus of the tariffs was to reduce the trade deficit, I think is significant. And what this can happen for a couple of reasons. The first is the tariffs increase the cost of imports. So if you stop there, if you think, well, that's going to make the trade deficit smaller, but it also leaves our trading partners with fewer dollars to spend on our exports. So we export less. So we don't reduce the trade deficit. We reduce the total amount of trade. And by the way, a lot of the things we import are things like steel, aluminum, parts that our manufacturers need, capital goods like computers. So those tariffs actually, they help some. If you're a steel producer, they probably help you. But if you're somebody that uses steel, either directly or indirectly, they're going to make you worse off. So they don't really help manufacturing. And they don't reduce the trade deficit. And if we want to reduce the trade deficit, history shows how to do that. We just throw the economy into a recession. And whenever we do that, the trade deficit goes down because we get poorer. We can't afford to buy as much. I don't think anybody wants to see us go down that road.
Probably not. If one of the arguments about the use of tariffs is that they function as leverage in, trade negotiations, what in your view should be used as leverage rather than tariffs?
After World War II, we went down the road of really having reciprocal zero tariff trade as our goal, and we made progress. I think critics of foreign trading partners they're right when they say other countries have unfair trade barriers that hurt our exports, but we have barriers here in the United States as well. And so we successfully brought those foreign tariffs down through about 2007 as a result of these win-win trade agreements. So I think the key to me is look at things that benefit us, but that benefit our trading partners as well, and view trade accurately as just a summary of win-win international transactions. It's not going in as a win-lose. Each country is trying to screw the other country. And if you buy something, somehow you're worse off. And if you sell something, you won. Look at mutually beneficial agreements. And while there's no doubt that we can use these as leverage or threats, and sometimes we get some short-term benefits, but that does long-term damage as well when people in other countries are like, well, maybe we can't rely on the United States so much. And the biggest example of us using these as leverage was to put tariffs on China. Did China change any of its policies? Well, actually, China did. They got even worse, and that's according to the Trump administration. So I think we really need to be cautious about just haphazardly saying, oh, we can make anybody do whatever we want. We'll just throw tariffs on or threaten tariffs, because typically what happens is we wind up with the taxes, and we don't always get the changes that we want.
We're visiting with Brian Riley from our friends at the National Taxpayers Union. Just got a couple minutes left here, Brian. Now, after the court struck down some of the president's use of tariffs, which ones are still in place, and are there still tariffs that are being questioned or being challenged at this point?
Well, the court threw out these so-called IEEPA emergency tariffs, and immediately the Trump administration reimposed the same tariffs through a different law, Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974, which are also being challenged for being illegal. So those could get thrown out again. In the meantime, the Americans who paid those initial tariffs are trying to get their tariffs refunded from the government, and that's an ongoing process. So we have these broad-based tariffs that are remaining in effect. There are exemptions for certain goods. There are exemptions for most fertilizer. There's exemptions for petroleum. And I think that's fine. I think it's an indication that even the Trump administration realizes, hey, there are some things we shouldn't tariff because Americans would pay, and we don't think it's a good idea to put tariffs on all those goods. But we also have specific so-called national security tariffs applying to everything from cans of beer to steel to aluminum that are even higher than the broad-based tariffs. So it changes almost from day to day or week to week, but our overall tariff rate remains at about 10% or so. Before Trump came into office this time, it was about 2.5%. So it's a big increase on average in the overall rate. But to some extent, it depends not only on what you import, but where you buy it from and what day of the week it is.
Okay, so the bottom line then in the last 30 seconds or so, Brian, is that the Liberation Day tariffs, have they bolstered any parts of the economy or have they made things more expensive for us? What's been the bottom line effect?
They've made things more expensive. Most Americans understand they've made things more expensive, and I'm not a political guy. I don't want to predict winners and losers politically, but I can tell you that a lot of Republicans are very concerned that there's going to be a price to pay during the midterm elections. But aside from that, and to me, the evidence is clear that they haven't done any good, and they've imposed a lot of costs on the economy. But I encourage everybody, of course, to look at the evidence and draw their own conclusions.
All right, and your all's take on this is going to be at what website? We've already tagged you on social media, but they want to find your work, including your blog and article on this. Where do they find it?
NTU.org for National Taxpayers Union. Obviously, our work on taxes there in generally will be there in addition to the trade policy, the import tax information, and specifically looking at these Liberation Day tariffs. And we'd love to see the Trump administration back away from this. I think it's something that's really holding back our economy, and nobody needs that.
Okay, 314-912-1019. I found that discussion really interesting, especially when Susie was asking about the leverage, the political leverage of it, the negotiation leverage, which that's one of the points that the Trump administration's been arguing, even if they do short-term pain, that the leverage for long-term gain is worth it. So I'm glad Susie asked that question. That conversation is on the News Talk STL podcast. Just find it under Mike Ferguson in the morning and put that out on your social media. I'm curious what your friends and your colleagues would say about that. All right, here we go with Flashback Friday on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
It's Democrats and Chuck Schumer that are causing the long lines.
They think we ought to abolish ICE, just like they wanted to abolish police.
Nuke the filibuster in order to pass the SAVE Act.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here to introduce you to your new favorite roofing company, Corel Roofing. There were 4 major storms last year. Did your roof take a hit? Do you even know? Most homeowner insurance policies require claims to be filed within 1 year, so time's running out for a closer look. At Corel Roofing Company, you get a local roofing specialist who will advocate for you every step of the way. Give yourself peace of mind. Schedule your roof inspection today with Corel Roofing at CorelRoofingCo.com. That's CorelRoofingCo.com.
This holiday season, bring the taste of Italy into your home. At DiGregorio's, we've been helping St. Louis families celebrate around the table for over 50 years. From imported wines, olive oils, and cheeses to gourmet pastas, sauces, and specialty holiday favorites like panettone and torrone. Our Italian gift baskets make the season easy and unforgettable. You'll find everything you need to make the holidays special. Experience a little bit of Italy right here in St. Louis. DiGregorio's Italian Market. Visit us at DiGregorioFoods.com.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
Hey, Jamie Ullman here for Window World. Did you know that Window World offers a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor? They are one of the only 2 replacement windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Window World St. Louis has been owned and operated by a group of born and raised St. Louis residents for more than 23 years, and now Window World is offering 36 months same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today, 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today.
800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380. Paid for by U.S. Med.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, everybody, let's hang out later this month.
Ooh.
I mean, you and I hang out all the time. I'm talking about everybody else, too.
Oh,
all right.
okay.
So here's what's going on. We started this push for tax reform in Missouri. I mean, this is going back over a year. You're talking about the road to zero, which our friends at Americans for Prosperity have kind of labeled this. We started doing that, a year ago when Glenn Jacobs was in. We kind of launched that. Well, they launched that. We were along for the ride with that. So we're almost there. I mean, this is getting close to the governor's desk. So if you've got any questions about the push to eliminate the state income tax in Missouri, then join moi, along with State Senator Nick Schroer, Representative Ben Keithley on April 30th, okay? This is going to be a town hall event that NewsTalkSTL, Americans for Prosperity Missouri, and Mo Tax Relief Now are holding, and this is to answer your questions, equip you with the facts as we try to get this change made in Missouri. This is a free event. It's a free event, but you got to RSVP, and you can do that at Americans for Prosperity's website. Just click on events. This is going to happen at the Lodge in De Pere once again on April 30th, which I think is a Thursday, I think. So I'm going to be basically emceeing this event, but Ben and Nick are going to be there, and so will all of our friends from AFP and Mo Tax Relief Now. And so it's going to be a big old tax cutting party.
Yeah, both of them are very good speakers, and I saw you MC at the Torch the Tax event, so I can definitely testify to your public speaking skills. So it sounds like it's going to be a great time. Come on out, people.
It's going to be great. And here's the thing. If you're like, no, but I don't like this, well, then you definitely need to come out and ask questions. It's a town hall. It's not a campaign rally. This is a town hall. This is to exchange information and answer those questions. Okay, I know the big story today. I've already just put the question out on the Rumble chat box. We should put it out on the other social media. Pam Bondi being shown the door. It's kind of weird how this works at the high level, like in the U.S. presidential cabinet. She's fired, but she's still on the job because she's transitioning over to the acting guy. So she already knows she's getting canned, but she's still there for, another couple of weeks or so, something like that. But Pam Bondi being shown the door.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've got the basic details on that at 6:04 in the news dump. We're also in the 6 o'clock hour. We're going to dive into that a little bit deeper with our buddy Chris Arps as well. So what do you think about that? I'm just putting the question out there now. Remember, the day that she was picked, I didn't like it. And
You've been consistent.
Some of y'all got on me about that because when basically Matt Gaetz was the first pick from the president to be the attorney general, which would have been a complete and utter disaster. And then he went with Pam Bondi. And you remember, first day, I'm like, bad pick. There are so many other better picks out there. She's got a terrible record on the Second Amendment. She is kind of a big government person. I don't like it. So I've been reading some articles, and I try to always, when I prep for these discussions, I grab one from the right and I grab one from the left, or I grab a couple from each side. And what's interesting is the reasoning that both sides are reporting the president made this decision. Basically, the right and left are agreeing on what they think happened.
Oh, that's unusual.
Yeah, which is unusual. Now, they've obviously got different takes on that, but they're agreeing on what happened. And it's basically two things. One is that the president was frustrated that she wasn't using the AG's job to go after his political opponents enough to basically fight back against all the lawfare. So they went after him. He wanted her to go after them. And then the Epstein. The complete mishandling and debacle that was the whole Epstein case as well. Those are what the articles from both perspectives are saying. So basic details here in just a little bit. And then, like I said, we'll get into that a little bit deeper with Chris.
Yeah, she has really not made the administration look very good.
No.
And after hearing the congressional hearing that they had and her deflecting on every single question, for a moment, I quite literally, I'm like, is this Kamala Harris?
But the stock market is, sorry.
And yes, I can imagine it's not because she has not done enough to release the information and make it transparent. It's actually, I would assume, because she made too much of a spectacle, and now people are paying too much attention to it.
So second big shakeup in the Trump administration in the last, 2-3 weeks, whatever it was, when Kristi Noem was let go as well. Okay, it's Friday, so I'm going to mention this. The stupid things I get excited about sometimes.
Lay it on me.
Okay. You're probably not old enough to remember the first round of the show American Gladiators.
I've heard of it, but no.
Right. I love that show. I mean, I guess technically it's reality, but it's actually athletic competition.
Yeah.
And they're bringing it back.
Ooh.
There is a new version of American Gladiators that is going to launch this month. April 17th is the launch date of the new season. And it's going to be basically the same thing. They get these, professional athletes to compete against the everyday Joes and Janes out there. And then they have all these. I freaking love that show. I'm saying. And so that's going to be on Prime, though. So you got to have a subscription to Prime to see it. I don't have a subscription to Prime. I may have to get one just for that. But I try not to subscribe to everything out there because you just don't need that many subscriptions. But I'm pretty stoked about American Gladiators.
Watch Party at Mike's house.
Yes.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area, and I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way, and right now it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Dr. Tobler, unfortunately yesterday we had another shooting by a transgender, this time in Rhode Island.
I know a little bit about hormones, and I know that hormones affect people in different ways. But when you start taking people and taking a God-given playing board, chessboard, if you will, and you put checkers on a chessboard, the game doesn't come out the same.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4
on News Talk STL.
I'm in my late 60s. My husband died a few years ago. He did all of our taxes. I sold a piece of property last year, and I forgot to claim the proceeds of the sale. Next thing I know, I got a letter from the IRS telling me that I owe over $50,000. Now I have a huge tax problem. I don't have that kind of money. I wish I knew who to call.
If you sold property in the last calendar year or didn't claim all of your part-time or even retirement income, you could be in big trouble with the IRS. Call first before they send you a letter. If you've already got a letter, call. We'll help you file years of past tax returns and save you time and money. So call the tax doctor. The call is confidential and free.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The Help Wanted sign is out of the Justice Department now that President Trump has fired Attorney General Pam Bondi. Choosing an interim successor, the president has not yet named a permanent replacement for Bondi.
The news follows months of scrutiny over the Justice Department's handling of files related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. Trump has named Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche as acting Attorney General. 3 people familiar with the matter say he has privately discussed Environmental Protection Agency head Lee Zeldin as a permanent pick. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
War Secretary Hegseth has fired Army Chief of Staff General Randy George and 2 other generals. A new book written by the Vice President of Colorado Springs-based ministry Focus on the Family is offering hope that the upcoming generation of Americans are embracing traditional values. Tim Gegline says as he lectures on college campuses, his message to young people is straightforward.
If you want a long-term measurable happiness, get married and stay married. Have children. Enjoy grandchildren. There is actually study after study that shows that the well-ordered society begins in what we call the natural nuclear family. What really matters is having a good life and a well-ordered society.
Tim Gegline's just published book is titled What Really Matters: Restoring a Legacy of Faith, Freedom, and Family. A U.S. attack on a major suspension bridge in Iran has left 8 people dead, according to Iranian state media. Iran, meanwhile, has attacked Israel, Kuwait, and Bahrain. NASA's Artemis II lunar mission continues unfolding just as planned. The 4 astronauts have exited Earth's orbit now. They're on their way toward the moon. No trading today on Wall Street. The stock market is closed in observance of Good Friday. The market ended the day mixed yesterday. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Kirk Cameron. Is health insurance eating up your budget for 2026? If you're looking for ways to better steward your finances, consider this: Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a health insurance alternative at half the cost. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. While insurance companies tell you when to join, what to pay, and where to go, CHM is different. As a ministry, CHM allows you to share the burden of medical bills with other Christians. You can enroll, switch programs, or leave at any time. Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a world of difference. CHM has 4 flexible programs. You can pick any certified doctor, surgeon, or hospital that you want for eligible care. So make the switch. Take your paycheck back from health insurance this year. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch with your first alert forecast. Going to be tracking temperatures climbing towards the lower 80s this afternoon. Could see a few isolated storms, nothing too impressive. Till we head off into late Friday night, early Saturday morning, could see some widespread showers and storms pulling back in from the west. Some of those could have some stronger winds. We'll continue to keep a close eye on those storms. Eventually showers into Saturday, clearing by the afternoon hours. And Easter Sunday, things are looking drier. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures only reaching back towards around the 60-degree mark. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at SerenityWealthBiz.com. That's SerenityWealthBiz.com.
Game day comfort steps up to the plate Saturday, April 11th, when the Cardinals face the Boston Red Sox downtown. That night, fans can score a Cardinals dugout hoodie presented by Mercy, built for cool nights, late innings, and early season baseball. It's a classic, easy-to-wear layer you'll reach for all year long. Available in medium or extra large while supplies last. Don't miss this spring matchup. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Every Sunday home game is a Kids Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Fred Birding games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family-favorite activities. Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
Here's my problem.
Completely agree with your sentiments.
He talks about we're divided. Well, yeah, we are. And we need to wake up as a country and realize what's going on.
1019 and 94.1.
Number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Boo! Relax, nerd.
Susie Moore.
And that would be a good time to respond with some applause.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
That's a banana republic without the banana.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, we love you, but you got to go. That's the word from the president to one of his cabinet members, basically.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is that basically the vibe that they're trying to give us, essentially, in public at least?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But, Donald Trump isn't one known for, being gentle with his firings, and he's been very gentle.
With this one, he has.
So
yeah.
I do think that he
Right.
genuinely is, kind of hates to see her go, but she got to go.
Yeah. All right, so we'll get into some basic details on that. Then we're going to talk to Chris Arps about the whole Pam Bondi thing here in just a little bit,
his
too.
take on that.
All right, imagine getting paid a massive severance after you quit. Yeah. Some St. Louis County taxpayers are footing that bill. I'll tell you who in just a moment here. Redbirds, Blues, and Illini all in action this weekend. They got the sports update for you. 6:06 right now on this Flashback Friday. I don't know, guys. What do you say? Let's do a news dump.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
By the way, I've had a few people recently say that we become their morning show on the TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So because if you go on to
I better do a better job. Sorry.
Well, if you go on to YouTube or Rumble app on any smart TV, or I suspect there's probably Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff there, but you can.
I do know people that watch us on Facebook.
Right, yeah. Right. So, but there's some people who just put us up in their living room, or the kitchen. So now we're the morning show for a number of people. So, hey, remember, you can do that before you head on out. Then just jump on 94.1 or 101.9 or the stream us or whatever. All right, she's about to be gone. I mean, the reports are she's fired, but she's actually transitioning over to Todd Blanche here. So, but she's about to be gone. President Trump is firing Attorney General Pam Bondi.
In announcing the firing of Bondi, President Trump described her as a great American patriot and a loyal friend who faithfully served as Attorney General. He praised her work and said she will be transitioning to a new job in the private sector. Despite his positive comments, the president was particularly unhappy with Bondi's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Writing on social media, the president said Bondi's deputy, Todd Blanche, will step in to serve as acting Attorney General. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And Todd Blanche was on Jesse Waters' Primetime on Fox last night.
The Epstein files has been a saga that's lasted for the past year. And what happened when the president signed the Transparency Act is the Department of Justice has now released all the files with respect to the Epstein saga.
Okay, so obviously still a lot of debate over that. But the Epstein stuff and then what I'm seeing from both the right and left media, Susie, is that there are reports saying that the president was frustrated that she wasn't being aggressive enough against basically his political opponents who enacted lawfare against him, and he wanted her to be more aggressive against them in the courts.
Right. Yeah, and I think there's two different ways to look at that issue itself. But yeah, I do think that there was some dissatisfaction with how she was going about it. I mean, she did. I hate to say this. I was never a big Pam Bondi fan.
I'm not either.
She did do some things right,
Mm-hmm.
and the stuff that she was doing right probably didn't get the attention. That's not an easy job, no matter who holds it. And they did do a lot of things right, but I'm not sad to see her go. I'll just say that.
Same. Yeah, I mean, and I saw one of the reports, I don't remember if it was The Hill or whether it was Newsmax or one of those, saying that, there are insiders who are saying that, there's that whatever the private sector job is going to be. We'll see what that is.
Well, at least it's not a special envoy to something or something or other.
Yeah, and but they said that they'd also, apparently the president and Pam Bondi had talked about a future judicial appointment, which God no, please no. I would not want her anywhere near a bench. Please no. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. All right, this is interesting here. Missouri lawmakers want to ban intoxicating hemp products in the state if those are being sold outside of dispensaries. So I guess there's if it's a slight enough dosage in whatever the product is, you could currently sell them at convenience stores or grocery stores or something like that. The proposal had wide bipartisan support in both legislative chambers, so this wasn't a particularly controversial bill. If it's signed into law, and it looks like it will be, it will ban the sale of hemp drinks like seltzers and gummies and similar products as of November 12th. And that date is very specific because that coincides with the start date of a new federal law that relates to the same issue. The bill also bans dispensaries from disclosing medical marijuana patient information to any federal agency unless a court order requires it. Because you've got under Democratic administrations, they wanted, hey, if you have a medical marijuana card, you shouldn't be allowed to buy a gun. And so I have a feeling this is trying to preempt something like that from a future liberal.
Well, and then the other thing is to remember that it's still illegal federally.
Yeah.
Well, I guess medical it's not. I don't know.
It's
confusing.
Yeah. just let people do what they want.
Just don't drive on it.
Yeah, really. All right, so she quit. So why are taxpayers sending her off with over $200,000 in severance? That's the big question surrounding the exit of the city manager in Webster Groves. KMOV's Morgan Harris explains.
Dr. Marie Peoples will be paid $138,000 along with nearly $88,000 in deferred retirement benefits as part of a severance agreement. Peoples has served as the city manager since 2021. She announced her resignation during a city council meeting last month.
Okay, so there's still no word from city officials as to why she resigned. And then certainly as to why they are handing out a severance to somebody who resigned.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to confess ignorance. I don't really understand the intricacies of, obviously if they let you go and they give you a severance package, that makes sense. I feel like there probably are instances where there's a mutual agreement, understanding come to where it's like, all right, I'm resigning, and we're giving you the severance package in exchange.
And usually that's to help somebody involved save face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And or to prevent there from being
A lawsuit.
And a big dust up over something that's not going to look good.
But that sort of thing should be public information.
It should.
And eventually it probably will be.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, Illinois lawmakers are debating a bill that would change which juveniles could be charged as adults for violent crimes, among others. Yeah. The proposal is from Democratic Representative Dave Vella, and it would increase the minimum age from 13 to 15. Vella is quoted by WTVO as saying, and I'm quoting here, "Too many young people are being treated like adults before they've had a chance to grow. This bill gives them a real opportunity to learn from mistakes and get back on the right path," end of quote. And, of course, that's the opposite approach. The Missouri is like, no, you're hurting people and you're violent and you're doing adult crimes. We're going to treat you like an adult.
I have mixed feelings on that,
Yeah.
to be honest. When you're talking about 13
Yeah.
as opposed to 17.
Right.
Because I feel like there's that very narrow window where there's maybe some chance that you could perhaps turn somebody around and get them going back in the right direction, and it's going to be when they're on the younger side.
And the bill is really complex. I'll give you the printout for it, so you might find it interesting just from the legal perspective, because it has to do with rehabilitation and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. All right, Artemis 2. Let's talk about Artemis 2.
Yes.
Man, this is a big deal. We talked about the technology improvements we talked with Gabe yesterday. The Artemis 2 mission launched towards the moon. It's going to go basically around the moon. And that's going to be the first time since the, 70s that we've been out there. Yeah. 10-day lunar journey. Victor Glover is on the crew. He's a pilot of the Artemis 2 mission. And he was on Fox News at night from space.
Yes, he was.
They did a live interview from space celebrating the success of the launch.
We like to say that we're prepared without having an expectation. But, in the back of your mind, you kind of hope you launch. And then when we got really close, it was like, wait, we're getting ready to go to space. And when those solids lit, it was a ride where you're trying to be professional, but the kid inside of you wants to break out and just hoot and holler.
Okay, can I just point out that, that sounded clear as day from literally outer space. And then when we have some of our guests on the show on the phone company can't keep the connection solid sometimes.
That's a very valid observation.
Yes. Okay.
I also want to point out that he sounded so much like Gabe.
Yeah.
His voice isn't the same, but the inflections and the excitement, he sounded like Gabe.
It's the nerd effect.
It
totally is. Oh my goodness. All right, so NASA wants to put 2 astronauts on the moon by 2028.
Yep, that's the plan right now.
That's the goal. That's the goal. All right, let's see here. Cardinals have their first road game of the season this afternoon. They play the Tigers, obviously, in Detroit. Michael McGreevy expected to start on the mound for this one. First pitch at 12:05. The Blues road trip continues tonight in Anaheim. They play the Ducks at 9 p.m., so the NHL's late game tonight. This one's actually going to be on Channel 4. It's going to be on KMOV, and it's also going to be on Matrix Channel 32. Blues have lost their last 2 games. The Illini, 1 game away from a national championship. Yeah. They play UConn tomorrow in the first Final Four game of the day. Tip-off is at 5:09, very specifically, 5:09. The winner of that game is going to play the winner of the Michigan-Arizona game. Final Four is happening in Indianapolis.
It's Friday!
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No pain, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Tuesday, April 7th, your community is on the ballot. And before you vote, you need to know what you're voting on.
School board, city council.
News Talk STL has you covered. Log on to NewsTalkSTL.com for our complete voter's guide. See the issues and races on your local ballot. Know the facts. Make your choice.
I think we need some kind of change.
Then get out and vote. Because local elections aren't decided by millions. They're decided by you.
My vote counts.
See the complete voter's guide at NewsTalkSTL.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's Stifel.com. The 80s.
Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young. Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where the beat?
It's Flashback Friday.
The countdown starts. Watching in a trance. The crew is certain, nothing left to chance. All is working, trying to relax. Up in the capsule, sent me up a drink. Jokes, Major Tom. The count goes on. 4, 3, 2, 1. Earth below us, drifting, falling.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
This would have been considered part of the new wave in the 80s.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Love this song.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, we're off to a solid start here. Solid start. Yep. All right, were the Mets, the New York Mets broadcasters, out of line, or does the truth hurt?
Well, those may not be mutually exclusive.
That's true. Okay, I want to dig into the comments about St. Louis that some New Yorkers made on the air this week. Because this, Sports Illustrated is writing about this, and there's a lot of people really hopping mad about it in St. Louis. So I'm just going to play the clip in question. You tell me what you think about this. All right, let's look back real quick here before we get to that. From a ghost kid and Amber Alert hoax to a basketball player fired for speaking out about his faith to, another trip into the final frontier. This has been a busy week in the news.
Now, police initially said a child was inside this Jeep when the driver ran inside to grab something, and when she came out, the car and the kid were gone. The SUV was later found about a mile south at a different apartment complex. Police searched the area for over 5 hours before announcing it was all fake.
The ordinary day-to-day activities have become risks. Going to the store, going to work, driving to school, existing as a person of color.
Yeah, I think that's an easy thing to throw out there, but we're an internationally accredited police department. We adhere to the highest standards, and we don't racial profile today. We're not going to do it tomorrow just because of this agreement.
Say, come join us for Pride Month, to celebrate unrighteousness.
I know how to communicate what the citizens of the 6th Congressional District care about because I'm one. And I think more than anything right now, the Republican Party needs quality messengers who can go into the fight every day. That's what I bring.
3, 2, 1, booster ignition, and lift off. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong.
Man, it's just been a busy week. Just saying.
Are they ever not?
No, not anymore. No. Man. All right. And also, in the news, coming up here, we'll visit with Chris Arps here.
Yeah. Sorry about that. You know what? The biggest news.
Yes.
Biggest news was that Bonnie's out.
Yeah.
And Todd Blanche is in for now. For now. We're going to dig into that with Chris Arps at 6:35.
Exactly. All right. 6:21 right now. So the Cardinals-Mets game, they had the midday game. And the way that the schedule works, usually it's like the first 2 games are always, at night. And then you'll notice right in the middle of the week, they have a 12 o'clock game. And you're like, why do they do that? Well, it's because the teams are usually going to travel somewhere after that. And so it gives them the rest of the day and then sometimes the next day to travel. And that's why they do that. And so that's why you get those midday games on Wednesday or Thursday sometimes, that sort of thing. And so the Mets broadcasters, because it was Cardinals versus Mets, while they were just chit-chatting during the show in between some of the action. One of the announcers had this sort of observation from his few days in St. Louis. Here's what he said on the air.
The only thing missing from that picture, as is often missing from every picture we show of downtown St. Louis, no people.
No people. Well, you know, they want it to look picturesque. You can see a car driving by on the right. That's the only sign of life.
But there's never anybody walking around in downtown St. Louis.
It's not very often, you're right.
It's like, remember the old neutron bomb that wouldn't knock down buildings but just would eliminate all the people? It's like one of those hit St. Louis.
I guess it's just a photo op. People then run and hide, so they're not in the photo.
Okay, so that was broadcaster Gary Cohen and then Todd Zeal, the former.
Yeah.
Yeah, Todd Zeal was the sidekick
Gotcha.
there as well. And so there's a lot of people like mad about this in St. Louis. I'm like, well, it kind of stings, but
So they weren't talking about the ballpark proper.
No,
they were talking
They were
about out on the streets.
They were
of
talking
St. Louis.
about downtown St. Louis.
It's always been like that. It's always been like that. Even when you could go to downtown St. Louis and not be like looking over your shoulder. It's always been like that. I worked downtown for 28 years. I know.
We worked downtown. We started this radio
I worked
station.
downtown, like on Broadway.
Yeah. So here's the thing: is I'm seeing some St. Louis media personalities. Some are my friends, and I get it. You want to defend. You want to get mad, and they're really angry about this. I'm kind of going, are you mad because they said it, or does it sting because the truth hurts? The reality is that nobody goes downtown. If you're not at Ballpark Village before a game, there ain't nothing happening downtown.
No, I mean, there's businesses down there, so there are people that like get out and about for like lunch.
Yeah.
But no, it's been like that for 30 years. It has always been like that.
Yeah.
Our good friend Dave's got some thoughts on
Okay,
this.
Dave, I want to hear it. Lay it on me. What do you think?
Hey, good morning, Jerome. Put your finger on there because I'll do my best. 1989, okay, the city police department was in full force for every sporting event downtown. And through the years, when the population for the police officers has declined, so has them putting police officers on the street. So now you have what you have. If you're not armed going downtown, you're either a real badass or you're insane. Now, I don't know which one you would be, but what did he say? I think it was Gary Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say that was inaccurate? Now, Todd Zeal, I believe, was the other announcer who played in St. Louis, was here when downtown was thriving.
Mm-hmm.
What did they say was wrong? Now, I don't know if I'd, be a New York broadcaster talking about the dump that I live in. You may not want to throw stones. Our place is a better piece of crap than your piece of crap. Wow. That makes a whole lot of sense. I got a brick outhouse. You just got the old regular wood outhouse. Yeah. Okay. Nice comparison.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I get it. That was my first reaction. Dave, thanks so much, man. Good to have you back on here. Have a great weekend. See, but that was, first thing I saw about it was people reacting angrily and like, that's out of line. You shouldn't be slamming another city. And then I listened to the clip. I'm like, but he's not wrong.
No, and some of it, some of it you can kind of attribute to St. Louis kind of being hollowed out and that sort of thing. But having lived in Chicago for 3 years in the early 90s, and then having worked in St. Louis downtown on Broadway from 1993 till 2022, downtown has never been hustle bustle. Even in the middle of the day, people do go out and get lunch and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's just never had that like big city hustle bustle vibe.
Right.
And down around the stadium, there aren't office buildings. Not like
not
like in the block around it.
There's the one like on the
They're
other
Ken
side
Corner.
of the right there on the side of the big
Right, but I mean, when people aren't going to be
courthouse.
walking from those buildings to around the ballpark, they're going to be walking in.
If there's not an attraction happening, you just don't go out of your way to go downtown. We've been talking about this for years. So like all the people who are like really upset about it. And again, I get it. You want to defend, even if you don't like what's going on, it's like, you can't say it, but we can say it.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of a little mocking, but
he wasn't wrong.
They
mean, if it's not Ballpark Village, and there's not a concert or a game going on.
And that is a contrast to some other cities.
Oh,
you
totally.
do see a lot more activity. So I can't really get that mad about that one.
That's the thing.
I'd rather them be talking about it being empty than them talking about like bodies lying on the street or filth.
I mean,
refuse.
They didn't say, well, where are all the people? Oh, well, they're running out of people to shoot, or something like that.
Which
they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because the answer is, where are all the people? Well, they went to St. Charles. They're heading up to
They're on Main Street.
They're
St.
heading
Charles.
to Jeffco. They're going to Chesterfield.
Right.
But they're not staying here. But I mean, it's an interesting observation because New York, millions and millions of people out there, they're accustomed to you walk out any hour of the day or night and something's happening, but that's just not the way it is.
So that was you see those iconic movie scenes where there's like a whole crowd of people walking along the sidewalk. There's like 10 people deep walking side by side, and then like somebody's kind of emerging from the crowd. That's like iconic.
Yeah.
When we went to New York, the one and only time I've actually been in Manhattan, it was sensory overload for me because there were so many people.
Yeah.
And I was like I'm not used to that level of energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And Manhattan, because I was in, when was the last time I was in New York City? I was in Brooklyn, but I took the subway over to Manhattan and we did some stuff in Manhattan and, got lunch at the bodega and, all that kind of stuff. And so, it's just a whole different world. But the funny part is like Todd Zeal, he knows St. Louis.
Yeah.
And like Dave said, though, St. Louis at one point did have, Union Station was more high.
It was busier.
Union Station is worlds better than what it was when at its worst days. But I remember before it kind of crumbled when Union Station was the mall and, you had the Hard Rock Cafe there and all that sort of stuff.
My mom had a store there.
Oh, did she? What was her store?
Berry Bridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she worked with a friend of hers, and it was kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It was like a boutique store that had like clothing, but also like cute little ceramic houses and stuff.
Okay, got it. Yeah, see, I used to love going to the Hard Rock Cafe, which is now like the soda fountain building.
Houlihan's was big there for a while, right?
I forgot about Houlihan's.
That was a big go-to watering hole.
They also had Brett Hull's was there. I remember that. And then there was a flag store. You could buy a flag from anything out there at Union Station. Of course,
there was like the chocolate or something. There was some or cookie, candy, something. There was something where they were like making it in front of you.
Right. And so now, listen, what they've done with Union Station has been very, very impressive. Don't get me wrong. But you're still not going there, for the most part, unless your kid's going on a field trip. Or you're coming in for a game or you're coming in for a concert, you're not going out of your way. The aquarium's an attraction. Don't get me wrong. It is. But that's a daytime thing.
Definitely.
And they're just not wrong about what they saw in St. Louis. So, is it bad form to kind of take a slap at the other cities? Maybe, but he didn't say anything that was inaccurate.
No, I'm with you on that.
Just saying. Yeah.
You can join hundreds of your closest pro-life friends next month and hear from Riley Gaines. We've actually had her on the Dr. Toller Show before, and she is a fantastic speaker, so you're not going to want to miss that. She's a featured speaker as well at the Missouri Right to Life Make Missouri Pro-Life Again banquet on May 20th. Get more information and reserve your ticket at MissouriLife.org.
The crew is certain, nothing left to chance. All is working, trying to relax. Up in the capsule, sent me up a drink. Jokes, Major Tom.
Well, there you go again. Listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. Going to be tracking temperatures climbing towards the lower 80s this afternoon. Could see a few isolated storms, nothing too impressive. Till we head off into late Friday night, early Saturday morning, could see some widespread showers and storms pulling back in from the west. Some of those could have some stronger winds. We'll continue to keep a close eye on those storms. Eventually showers into Saturday, clearing by the afternoon hours. And Easter Sunday, things are looking drier. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures only reaching back towards around the 60-degree mark. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
When water troubles strike, call the family you can trust. Tim Jones here for Ambassador Plumbing, serving our community since 2018 with 25 years of master plumbing expertise from Tim Morris and his handpicked team. Whether it's a simple faucet repair or a complete bathroom remodel, if water runs to it or through it, they do it. From residential service calls to commercial to new construction, the folks at Ambassador are your neighbors treating you like family. Ambassador Plumbing, where faith meets craftsmanship. 636-383-6932 or ambassadorplumbing.com. That's ambassadorplumbing.com.
My mother was very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign and she wasn't even really sure where she was at.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The Vic Borselli Show.
Hi, it's Ken. We missed former Speaker Tim Jones on Wednesday. He was in Jeff City, so we're going to get an update about the state Friday at 11:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
You're wondering who I am. Secret, secret, I got a secret. Machine or mannequin.
Let's get back to all this madcap mayhem with Mike Ferguson in the morning. But don't forget, stick around for Jones and Arps every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m.
You know, it's funny because this is such a non-Styx-like Styx
Yeah.
song.
Oh, very much so.
and everybody, there are some people like, oh, I can't stand that song, but they will sing along and dance along to it,
It
just
was
like you were doing.
quirky,
It was
cheesy fun.
Very quirky. DeYoung, I think DeYoung wrote this song.
Yes, this
you
is
know.
very Dennis DeYoung.
Dennis DeYoung wrote this song. All right, so here's where we're at right here. He's basically saying he loves her, but he's got to go to make room for somebody else. And no, I'm not talking about another wife for Donald Trump. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying. I'm talking about the soon-to-be former Attorney General, Pam Bondi.
Yes, yes, yes.
Big shakeup. Second big shakeup in, 2.5, 3 weeks?
2 weeks,
Something like that, yeah. Our own Chris Arps, political pundit extraordinaire, afternoon show host extraordinaire, Newsmax personality. He doesn't have time for anything else, but he squeezed in time for us, who joins us right now. Tell me about the dynamics. I don't think that – I think some people kind of raised their eyebrows when they heard the news, but I don't know that anybody can really say they were truly shocked that Pam Bondi is getting pushed out the door at some point. But what do you make of the vibe that, boy, she's a patriot, she's done a great job, we really love her, but I got to kick her out?
Well, you know, this has been rumored for months that Pam Bondi was on the hot seat. The president was upset because when a lot of the cases that he wanted to have perpetrated against his political enemies, he didn't feel that she was doing those appropriately, or she wasn't winning any of those cases. So she had kind of lost favor with the president because of that. But really what hurt her was the Epstein files. She completely dropped the ball on that when she said that she had the file on her desk and it had names and all of that, and that didn't come to fruition. And I think, you know, with the release of the Epstein files and the Democrats trying to make this an issue, and she initially fumbled that, I think the president felt that it was time for her to, quote, move on to the private sector. It's very interesting that we're seeing in this term when people are let go, you know, they're not, you know, they're given other jobs. They're not talked bad about. So I think that's a very interesting dynamic that we didn't see in the first term.
Yeah, Chris, talk about that a little bit. I mean, there's a stark difference between how James Comey was let go, for instance, and Pam Bondi and
like
Christino.
The political version of a pile driver.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
Well, you know, in the first term, the president, the people that the president brought in were recommended to him by others. This is the people that you need for this job. And they clash with his personality. They clash with his philosophy. Well, in the second term, President Trump, for lack of a better word, brought in yes men, people that were going to be loyal and do basically what he wanted. And so I think that's why with Kristi Noem and with Bondi, even though they were let go, they were still very loyal to him. And so he's going to find other jobs for them and is going to release them without any controversy.
Okay, so Todd Blanche is going to be taking over as acting attorney general in the meantime. Whether he's going to be the permanent pick, we remains to be seen. By the way, Todd Blanche is the one who kind of looks like Eddie Eagle from the Muppets. You know, he's just to point that out. But there's been names like Lee Zeldin floated in some of the rumor mills and things like that. Harmeet Dillon's been another one. You know, there's a few others that you could toss out there as well. But does Todd Blanche appear to be the safe pick to just take over, or are we looking at maybe another more outspoken Trump supporter as somebody who is willing to get in more legal? Because Todd Blanche has really kept his interviews and comments to the cases and the legalities at hand. He's not been a real political guy, at least on camera.
I think if you hear all the reports, I think Lee Zeldin, the EPA director, is probably the lead in getting that job. I think the president wants a smooth transition from people that he's fired. We saw that with Mark Wayne Mullen. He was a former Congress member. He was kind of a smooth transition. He had some Democrats, a few Democrats support him. Lee Zeldin was a former congressman. He was pretty popular as well. He's already had Senate confirmation. So I think he's probably going to be the top choice for that because they want the smoothest transition as possible.
Yeah, Chris, talk about that a little bit, the Senate confirmation aspect of it. And I don't know if you know, I can't remember off the top of my head. If they've already been Senate confirmed, they still have to go through the formal process, but the presumption is if they got confirmed for what they were already confirmed for, they should make it for this, right?
That's what I was thinking, Susie. I was wondering, you know, since he's already been Senate confirmed, you know, can he just go ahead and take over the job? But I'm not for sure, but I think because it's a separate job that he still has to have Senate confirmation once again, but because he's been confirmed already, that should make it an easier process.
Right.
Yeah, that's my understanding is that he does have to go through that again, of course, and then that means there's another EPA administrator who's got to be picked, and you know that's a whole other thing. And so the next attorney general, be it Todd Blanche permanently, Lee Zeldin, whoever it is. What's the pressure on them? What are they going to need to deliver to be able to finish out the term with Trump? Because Bondi was in, 13 months, something like that, 14 months, something like that?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the toughest job that you will ever have in the Trump administration is Attorney General. We saw that with Jeff Sessions in the first term. The president wanted Jeff Sessions to do some things that I don't think that he was comfortable with, that I think he thought outstretched his role. And so that's why there was conflict between those two. We saw it in this term with AG Bondi, that Trump didn't feel that she was successful in some of the cases that were tough cases. I mean, you know, the president has political enemies, of course, but the case against Letitia James, the mortgage fraud, that was going to be a tough case to win. The case against Powell, that he committed fraud, trying to redo the Fed building. I think that's going to be a tough case to prosecute. And so the president is going to give the attorney general some tough cases and is going to put them in kind of a ethical situation that some of them aren't comfortable with. And it's just a tough job to have. You know, I was talking with Tim yesterday, and Susie, you're an attorney, that, you know, you take legal and you take ethical oaths as an attorney, and you have to take that very seriously. And when you're in that attorney general job, you remember those oaths that you have to take, and the president sometimes wants you to stretch past those oaths. And if I was an attorney, that's one job I would not take as attorney general in the Trump administration.
Yeah, I had several RedState commenters suggesting that I'd be great for that. I'm like, no. Yeah, I mean, I think part of it too is there's this kind of issue that we've got right now with the whole blue slip process that is keeping the president from being able to appoint U.S. attorneys that then can work with the DOJ and actually help things work smoothly. Like, I mean, setting aside, you know, what are the parameters of what you can and cannot do legally, which I run into all the time. I explain legal cases to people who aren't lawyers, and they get really mad at me for it because it's like, well, why isn't it that way? Why can't you just do that? So I get that too. But yeah, I mean, whoever ends up filling Pam's shoes is going to have to figure out what they're doing with U.S. attorneys that they can't get appointed.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to the blue slip process.
Yeah, and Trump has advocated, along with getting rid of the filibuster, that they should get rid of the blue slip process as well.
I don't know that I disagree with him on that, on the blue slip
On the blue
part.
slip one.
Yeah. I mean, because then you've got Democrat senators completely holding up any of his appointees.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of, I mean, I like the idea that senators, have, if someone's from their state, and then they can put the kibosh on their nomination for any type of reason. I kind of like that. But, in this age of partisanship where people are just, rejecting people because they're associated with President Trump, I think that, kind of defeats the process in a way.
We're visiting with Chris Arps. Obviously, you can hear him every afternoon here on News Talk STL from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So this is 2 big changes for key positions just in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Are these isolated because the president wasn't happy with these particular cabinet members, or are we at that stage of an administration where, some turnover freshens some things up and he's reevaluating what he's going to do as he heads into the midterms and then what is traditionally a lame duck period of a presidency?
I think you may see 2 more people being replaced in the coming future. Kash Patel, it's been rumored for months that, that he was on his way out. We may see the former Missouri Attorney General elevated as the FBI director. And the next person I would look to probably be out is the Labor Secretary, Lori Chavez.
For good reason.
Let's hope so.
For good reason.
Yeah. You can't, as a secretary in the president's cabinet, you shouldn't probably take your employees to a strip club on government money. So she's got a lot of controversies that are surrounded with her. So I would look for her probably to be next.
Yeah, and if that's another one where I did not understand that pick from the beginning, that like Pam Bondi, I didn't like it at all. You got somebody who's basically in bed with or on the pole with labor unions. Yeah.
Now.
Just there. But I didn't like that one either way. Because it's kind of funny when I was kind of processing the Pam Bondi news, I'm like, ooh, I wonder if Josh Hawley would be in that mix, and then the president could get somebody very loyal, and then we could get somebody who's appointed by the governor to be consistently conservative all the way around. No, I don't think my luck's going to be there.
It would be Eric Schmidt before it would be Josh Hawley.
I know.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I like Eric Schmidt.
I know. I do too.
I want Eric to stay right there. But all right. So, Kristen, what are we looking at? What do you think is next? Now your predictions like there with Kash Patel and with Chavez is that's going to be interesting to watch. But when you look at this transition, do you think there's going to be any sort of pushback or hiccups, as far as the transition goes, or does this look like this is going to be fairly smooth? Did we lose Chris? Oh, I think we just lost Chris.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
I didn't
see.
Nothing.
Look at that. Fox News can do an interview with people literally thousands of miles in outer space.
Yep.
And our phone
lunar
company
orbit.
and Soros the Gremlin gets in there and stops our phone calls.
It's a conspiracy.
I'm telling you. All right, but Chris Arps, hear him every afternoon with Tim Jones from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock right here on News Talk STL.
And
yes,
keep this in mind. Next Tuesday, April 7th, is Election Day. You want to get out and vote. Before you vote, you need to know what you're voting on. So News Talk STL has you covered. Listen all day for local insight and guidance, and then log on to newstalkstl.com for our complete voter's guide. See the issues and the races on your local ballot. Know the facts, make your choice, then get out and vote, because local elections aren't decided by millions. They are decided by you.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
My opinion is it's weird.
On News Talk STL.
With parts made in Japan. I've got a secret. I am the modern man.
News Talk STL.
First thing in the morning,
and pretty much all day.
Live and local. 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Ever feel like just a number in a waiting room? Hi, I'm Shannon Tribune, Director of Operations with Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Navigating the medical system can be a maze of stress. I'm your personal guide at Body of Health. I handle the messy parts of medical care, the logistics and complex coordination, both in and outside our walls, so you and Dr. Tobler, that's my dad, can focus on what matters most, your health. At Body of Health, you're not just a patient, you're part of the family, because that's healthcare the way it ought to be. To learn more, schedule a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com.
Want a hands-free light that does not strap to your head or held in your mouth? Meet Dex Finger Light at fingerlight.com. The Kryptonite ring fits any finger pointing light exactly where you need it. Place decoys, handle gear, get close to roosted gobblers, fast, easy, stealthily. 3 light modes, waterproof, extremely durable. Developed by a father and son's Missouri team, Dex Finger Light is faster and easier than a headlamp. Use discount code TONY20 for 20% off at fingerlight.com.
Hey there, News Talk family. Chris Cooper here, your financial friend with Serenity Wealth Management. Tune in this Sunday right here on News Talk STL. We have a special treat in store for your Easter Sunday. Serenity Wealth Now show featuring our special guest, Diane Wood with Trolley Stop Bakery, a familiar voice right here on News Talk STL. So tune in each Sunday morning, 9 a.m., the Serenity Wealth Now show, or check us out on Serenity Wealth Now's social media outlets.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
From the day I was born, I took the bull by the horn and gave me plenty to scorn. Oh, right. They said in the song that life was getting real tough, but hey, I think that's a lie. What I live, huh? It is just a right-on. It is just a right-on. It is just a right-on.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Now, if you want to get more of Chris's thoughts on what's going on with Pam Bondi, he's actually going to be on Newsmax's Wake Up America tomorrow morning.
Oh, there you go.
Yep, going to be there. Looks like at 6 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. I don't know where in those hours, but he's going to be on Newsmax tomorrow. All right, imagine getting paid a massive severance after you quit the job.
Nice game.
A lot of questions being asked in one St. Louis County community about that. And, man, a lot of sports this weekend. A lot of sports. Redbirds, Blues, Illini, all doing their thing this particular weekend. Tell you what's going on. It is 6:49. Let's go ahead and do another news dump here.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
Okay, so she's on the way out. President Trump is firing Attorney General Pam Bondi. Here are the basic details.
In announcing the firing of Bondi, President Trump described her as a great American patriot and a loyal friend who faithfully served as Attorney General. He praised her work and said she will be transitioning to a new job in the private sector. Despite his positive comments, the president was particularly unhappy with Bondi's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Writing on social media, the president said Bondi's deputy, Todd Blanche, will step in to serve as acting Attorney General. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And Todd Blanche was on Fox News last night. He was on Jesse Waters' Primetime.
The Epstein files has been a saga that's lasted for the past year. And what happened when the president signed the Transparency Act is the Department of Justice has now released all the files with respect to the Epstein saga.
And it wasn't even, it's all about the files, but it was also the fumbling and the just debacle that was handling it, and the redactions, and it seemed, the folders with the influence. First of all, the social media influencers dancing around with a folder that was just so stupid. It was just cartoonish.
Every single person that was there that day doing that got unfollowed by me, and I've never followed them since. Completely unacceptable.
Completely understand that. All right. Missouri lawmakers want to ban intoxicating hemp products in the state if those are sold outside of dispensaries. Yeah. Now it's up to Governor Kehoe. I suspect he's going to sign this bill because it had broad support, bipartisan in both chambers. So if signed into law, it would ban the sale of things like hemp drinks, I guess seltzers with the hemp whatever in it, gummies that are not in the dispensaries but just have a low enough dose to, I guess, get underneath the current regulations.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused by all of that because I guess it comes down to the amount of THC in them, and I've never really fully understood the distinction that's drawn and where it's drawn and how it's drawn. I don't know.
Yeah, and here's what's interesting. The bill, among other things, in addition to that, it also makes it illegal for dispensaries to hand over any medical marijuana patient information to any federal agency unless there's a court order. So that's included in the bill. That was interesting because the whole thing is about, essentially you've got this industry of the dispensaries, which is generating hundreds of millions of dollars in the state. The marijuana industry wrote their own constitutional amendment, wrote their own regulations, and they're going, wait a minute. Other people are selling and making money off this when we spent all this money to buy a constitutional amendment.
They're cutting in our business.
They're cutting into our business. Yeah, so that's part of what's going on. But if you've got an intoxicant, then the government has a role in setting some limits on it, like alcohol or tobacco or anything else. Yeah. All right. So she quit. Then taxpayers are sending her off with over $200,000 in severance.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense. Now, we're sure there's a story behind it, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I still think, to your point earlier, there needs to be some transparency as to the reason that she's leaving. But it seems like there was some sort of mutual agreement reached.
That's what I'm guessing. So we're talking about with something happening in Webster Grove. That's the big question there surrounding the exit of the city manager. KMOV's Morgan Harris explains.
Dr. Marie Peoples will be paid $138,000 along with nearly $88,000 in deferred retirement benefits as part of a severance agreement. Peoples has served as the city manager since 2021. She announced her resignation during a city council meeting last month.
Okay, so there's the outside observer part of me, and then there's the former alderman part of me. The outside observer says if you quit, you don't get a severance. That's the real world. That's what happens in the private sector. The aldermanic part of me says somebody did something or said something that they really want to either save face or avoid a lawsuit.
Or both.
And so, or both. And so here's the deal.
Yeah.
You can resign so you're not fired, and we'll pay you this, or she's saying, okay, fine, I'll quit and I won't bury you, but here's what it's going to cost. Or somewhere in the middle of that.
Some deal was worked out somewhere.
There was some kind of deal. Because it doesn't make any sense for somebody to resign and then weeks later they formalize a $200,000+ severance.
Yeah. Well, I think that there should be some FOIAs.
Yeah. And because they're going to, they've got to.
Or whatever the state
equivalent is. They can't, there are personnel items that can stay private. This ain't one of them.
Yeah.
This is not one of them. Okay, ICE agents continue working at airports as that partial shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security continues. Border Czar Tom Homan was on the Will Cain show on Fox last night, and he says the ICE agents being there, that is taking them away from actual immigration enforcement, but it's also allowing TSA agents to work specialized jobs while ICE kind of picks up the slack around the airport.
It's important we fill those gaps at the airports, right? Because they're a critical infrastructure. We got to protect them. So ICE was there not only filling those security gaps, but doing jobs that TSA officers were doing that didn't require like x-ray training, right?
And it looks like there might be some kind of deal on a funding bill in the House, sort of. And then I think the Republicans are just going to do reconciliation and get what they want anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's still some uncertainty as to how that's all going to come together, but they're working on it.
Yep. Okay, let's see here. Illinois lawmakers debating a bill that would change which juveniles could be charged as adults for violent crimes. The proposal is from Democratic Representative Dave Vella, and that would increase the minimum age that a juvenile could be charged as an adult from 13, and it would raise it to 15. So regardless of what a 14-year-old or 13-year-old or 12 did, under this bill, they could never be charged as an adult.
For that.
Right. And so Vella is quoted by WTVO as saying, this bill gives them a real opportunity to learn from mistakes and get back on the right path, end of quote. Of course, on the Missouri side, there's more of a crackdown saying you do adult crimes, you're going to do adult sentencing, you're going to do adult sentencing, and we're going to get you off the streets. And so what's the right approach? Two different states, two completely different approaches to that.
Yeah, and that's when, like I said, I'm a little bit more amenable to maybe having that cut off a little bit higher, just because I feel like there's such, I don't know, you're still talking about children.
Right.
And who need help. Big help.
Yeah. So the bill is actually pretty complex. So you may want to check it out.
I'll
It's
take a look at it.
All right. The Artemis 2 mission is launched, and some human types are headed towards the moon to do a drive-by.
That's right.
And then they're coming right back because they have a curfew. But anyway, it's the first time in decades that we have a lunar journey. This is going to be a 10-day trip. Victor Glover is the pilot of the Artemis 2 mission, and he was on Fox News at night, literally live from outer space. Celebrating the success of the launch.
We like to say that we're prepared without having an expectation. But, in the back of your mind, you kind of hope you launch. And then when we got really close, it was like, wait, we're getting ready to go to space. And when those solids lit, it was a ride where you're trying to be professional, but the kid inside of you wants to break out and just hoot and holler.
NASA officials are hoping the launch will expand public interest in the Artemis program. You've done that.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
That's there.
And did you see that in addition to the toilet issue, they were having an issue with his Outlook, his Microsoft Outlook email account wasn't working right? So like even in space, Microsoft can't quite get it right.
I'm still messing with my new mouse here at times, and they're thousands of miles away.
Pretty amazing.
All right, let's see here. Cardinals are in Detroit this afternoon playing the Tigers. That is a 12:05 first pitch. This will be their first road game of the entire season.
Wow.
Blues on the road as well. They're going to be in Anaheim to play the Ducks. That's the NHL's late game tonight. That's a 9 p.m. puck drop. This one's actually going to be on KMOV, on Channel 4, also on Matrix, which is Channel 32. And the Illini, they are one game away from a national championship. They play UConn tomorrow in the first Final Four game of the day. Tip-off the very specific 5:09. The winner of that game is going to play the winner of the Michigan-Arizona game. Final Four is in Indianapolis.
David Jaworski here. I'm running for Francis House School Board. A millennium ago, the Greeks became the gold standard of education. These same basic methods still work, yet today the liberal progressives seem to ignore past lessons in favor of more spending and every novel educational idea that comes along. While the cognitive ability of our kids continues to slip away, good teachers face selective policy enforcement, failed programs, and indoctrination. Vote for David Jaworski on April 7th. Help me begin the process to make the old school methods that work new school again. Paid for by David Jaworski, FHSB.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump is in the market for a new attorney general after handing Pam Bondi her walking papers.
In announcing the firing of Bondi, President Trump described her as a great American patriot and a loyal friend who faithfully served as attorney general. He praised her work and said she will be transitioning to a new job in the private sector. Despite his positive comments, the president was particularly unhappy with Bondi's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Writing on social media, the president said Bondi's deputy, Todd Blanche, will step in to serve as acting attorney general. Ray Clugston, Washington.
War Secretary Hegseth looking for a successor to the Army's top uniformed officer, General Randy George.
A Pentagon official has confirmed that George has been asked to take early retirement from the post of Army Chief of Staff, which he's held since August 2023. The ousting of George is just the latest of more than a dozen firings of top generals and admirals by Hegseth since he first took office last year. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A couple of U.S. allies are answering President Trump's call to assure freedom of navigation in a strategic Mideast waterway.
French President Emmanuel Macron and his South Korean counterpart Lee Jae-myung say they have agreed to work together to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Correspondent Charles Deladesma says the strait has been effectively closed by Iran. Having left Earth's orbit, the Artemis 2 astronauts continue their journey toward the moon. The first space travelers to leave Earth's orbit since 1972. They are on course for a lunar fly-around early next week. No trading today on Wall Street. The financial markets are closed in observance of Good Friday. The market ended mixed in yesterday's trading, with the Dow closing 61 points lower. The Nasdaq and the S&P ended higher. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Meet Morgan Jones. Morgan is about to step into a world unknown to most, thanks to Progressive's Renters Insurance, a place of fresh linens and turn-down service. You see, Morgan temporarily vacated her apartment and has gone to a hotel because a pipe burst in her apartment, a pipe that made her sense of reality and apartment ceiling all come crashing down. Luckily, Morgan checked into Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house. It's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scott with your first alert forecast. Going to be tracking temperatures climbing towards the lower 80s this afternoon. Could see a few isolated storms, nothing too impressive. Until we head off into late Friday night, early Saturday morning, could see some widespread showers and storms pulling back in from the west. Some of those could have some stronger winds. We'll continue to keep a close eye on those storms. Eventually showers into Saturday, clearing by the afternoon hours. And Easter Sunday, things are looking drier. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures only reaching back towards around the 60-degree mark. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com is your one-stop shop for expert insured tree care and more in the greater St. Louis region and at the Lake of the Ozarks. Visit hansonstree.com for 24/7 emergency tree care, grinding and land clearing, awesome organic mulch, green resource recycling, and more. Tim Jones here to tell you that whether you're dealing with old man winter at your home or business in the St. Louis region or preparing your lake home for spring, call Hanson's to help you out. No job too big or too small. Mention News Talk STL. Receive 10% off all tree care services. hansonstree.com, hansonstree.com.
I was elected in 2023 to bring common sense and conservatism back to the classroom. Despite my hard work, there's still much to do. Hi, my name is Jane Pushkar, and I'm running for the Francis Howell School Board. I can continue the hard work of fiscal responsibility, parental rights, and returning to research-based curriculum and resources. It's a tall order, but after successfully removing many pornographic books, I've proven that parental rights are never to be ignored. Your vote is critical this year, so please vote for the top 3 conservative candidates on the ballot.
Paid for by Citizens for Jane Pushkar. Ron Pushkar, Treasurer.
Mike Ferguson.
I listen to 80s music. I love Debbie Gibson.
Susie Moore.
You got into Harvard Law?
What, like it's hard?
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
This is your cousin Bob.
Okay, this next thing is a story that I saw in a couple of the local news outlets and the statewide coverage, and I just got questions because I think the story almost kind of went under the radar because people went, oh, okay. Here's the question. Are we going to have to start to register and submit our IDs to use social media at some point? I mean, if it's for the kids, and there's a couple bills that Missouri lawmakers are considering, I don't know how far these things are going to go, but I think some people are missing part of the point. So you look at the good intentions that I think we can all agree, but then there's 2 other questions. how big do we want government to be on this? And two, wait a minute. You want me to put my ID in order to go on Twitter or Facebook or X or Facebook or whatever? Okay, I'll tell you what's going on here in just a second. By the way, if you've got any questions about the push to eliminate the state income tax in Missouri, speaking of lawmakers here, join me and Senator Nick Schroer and Representative Ben Keithley on April 30th. Okay, we're going to have a town hall event. News Talk STL, Americans for Prosperity Missouri, and our friends at Mo Tax Relief Now. We are teaming up for this town hall event. It's going to answer your questions. This is not a campaign rally. This is answering your questions and giving you the information that you need about what is proposed and what we think can happen if we get rid of the state income tax. It is a free event. An RSVP is needed, though, and you can do that at the Americans for Prosperity website. Just click on the events tab, and then you can get your RSVP for this free event. So I'm going to MC this with Nick and with Ben as well. All right. 7:07 right now. Okay, so let's talk about this. 314-912-1019, because this to me is one of those things, Susie and Jerome, that is like, what's the bigger picture things? Because I think sometimes people get into the mechanics and the weeds of it, and we've got a goal that seems laudable, and then we miss some of the big picture. Okay, so I saw this on KMOV's website. Missouri House bills could ban or limit kids from using social media. All Missourians could be required to submit IDs. So here's what's going on. And it focuses on two pieces of legislation, which are pretty similar, basically. So it's the same concept. One of them, and if you want to get all wonky and look it up, it's House Bill 2392. This would ban anybody under the age of 14 from using social media. So it would outlaw the use of social media from anybody 13 and under. It would be against the law for this person to use this.
Okay.
And kids, if they are 14 and 15, could be allowed access with parental consent. So there's another one, and again, look it up. It's House Bill 3393, so different lawmaker. But it just goes a little bit further. It would ban anybody under the age of 16 from using social media in Missouri. And it would allow for parental oversight until they turn 18, and then they would be allowed to have their own social media on this. And so this is from the State Representative Don Mayhew, and he says, or excuse me, the first one is from State Senator Joe Murray, and Murray says his goal is for social media sites to stop using addictive design features that kids are susceptible to. And then he compares his bill to the federal government's effort to crack down on things like tobacco because it's addictive and all this sort of thing. And so they're talking about, the loss of sleep and kids getting addicted and the screen time and the social consequences and a lot of stuff that's true, that is it is a problem out there. But Susie, let me throw up my first heebie-jeebies about this. Very technical term there, heebie-jeebies.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't this make the government your parent, another parent in your life?
Somewhat.
I mean, isn't this government looking in to micromanage another part of your home, even if we accept the premise that kids are on social media too darn much?
It's from the Latin hebus-jeebus.
Oh,
so you know.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I'm struggling to make sure I obviously haven't looked at the bills themselves. Like the second one you mentioned, there was a provision that allows parents to do, what are you doing allowing parents to? The parents should already be monitoring, overseeing. Right. And I say this as someone who has a 24-year-old now I wasn't great about this. I get it. You get busy, you get, wrapped up in all your stuff. You can't sit on your kids 24/7. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that makes it the government's role to do it. I think it's fine to raise the concerns, but I don't think this is a situation that we really benefit from passing additional legislation on, as opposed to, I don't know, like community outreach, like encouraging parents to be much more involved and engaged in what their kids are doing, that sort of thing. I also, my other question too is about the proof of age, because now if you want to go to Anheuser-Busch's thing, you have to say your birthday is before such and such a date. But I mean, you could be lying. You could be 8 and say that you're 21, and they can't tell.
Right.
So, I mean, you show an ID to purchase alcohol, and sometimes they even scan it, the back of it, on the register.
Right.
But there's something more about like having to actually like upload it to online and then thinking about, I don't know. I've got privacy issues with that.
Besides the obvious fact that makes it easier for data leaks to become more harmful to individuals because your ID would then be involved in the data leak versus right now if you're using a generic name doesn't guarantee its use sort of thing. If you really wanted to crack down on this, why not start charging parents with child neglect or something like that if you're just letting them be online 24/7? I'm more concerned about the actual targeting by the companies for advertising reasons and specific content being pushed than I am them being online. But for example, when I did dual credit courses in high school, which means that I was taking college level courses while I was still in high school. And at the time, Facebook was still relatively new to the consciousness, but I was a teenager and we had to do group projects, and the easiest way to collaborate was by using social media. So would I then have to, like, how would I get an ID? Would school ID suffice? And if that's the case, then what's going to stop people from getting and trading and swapping student IDs when they're out of college?
Yeah.
I've heard rumors that people underage would use fake IDs. I don't know anything about that personally, but I'm just saying I've heard that
in theory,
it's happened. Yeah.
You really think people would go on the internet and lie?
It's hard to believe, but yeah, I feel like this is well-intended legislation that isn't necessarily the right approach and isn't. Yeah, I think there's better ways to address this concern.
I don't think it's good-natured. Okay, so maybe it's people that they don't understand the youths of the day and how people actually interact, and that they're just misguided in it. I think that this is more or less using the guise of protecting children to then expand the reach of surveillance and to get more information out of people than it is to actually protect children from what's going on online.
That might be for who, I don't know who might be pushing this, but I don't know the particular legislators. I don't know Senator Murray.
I don't know either.
So I'm not going to attribute that approach to him. I suspect it may be more about an individual legislator wanting to feel like they've got something meaningful that they're putting forward and that it's going to get voted on, not because they've got some, dark, sinister designs on getting into my privacy. I'm willing to go that route on this, but whether it's well intended or not, I just don't think it's the right way to go.
Yeah, because you're concerned about the surveillance state. That's one of the things that I'm seeing on it is, okay, are there too many kids spending too much time on social media? Absolutely, 100%. I agree. Is that the government's job to say go outside and play, read a book? Go get a comic book, draw something on your stencil. What?
Maybe with PSAs.
Yeah, but it's not the government's job to regulate it.
No.
And then the only way to actually enforce this is to card us all, which means the social media. That means that we've got to somehow confirm. And you look at what other states have done. Now, they have gone with some of them are going with the social media, but look at, like, for instance, when they were looking to restrict like adult sites and things like that. But this goes over to social media. In some of those cases, regular adults who just want a Facebook or a Twitter or whatever, they're being required to upload their ID. I'm not doing that. It's one, the data leak, but secondly, everything that goes with it. But secondly, it's not the government's job. Does the government already have that information? Yes, that's not the point.
It's how they're able to access the information. Yeah. I mean, in theory, there are certain safety guards from law enforcement and from other agencies from just walking up to your house and then, peeking through your windows and watching you, because that would be unconstitutional. And there are safety guards, but there's not anything currently stopping them, if your profile on Facebook's public, from them just going online to see if you're posting illegal stuff. That's on you at that point, obviously. Yeah. With this, I mean, there's so many points of failure that could be used both by a bad actor within the government, as we saw in the Biden administration of how they were acting, as well as just in general with people that are tech savvy that might be trying to scam people or target people.
Corporeal Being on Rumble says, it's like gun control. It's less about the guns and more about control. This is about controlling what you can say anonymously online. It's intended to have a chilling effect. That's interesting.
Okay, well, I think that gets to a different kind of legislation, one that Nikki Haley was pushing back when she was running for president, that had to do with you can't use a pseudonym online.
Right.
I agree with that point, but this seems to me like this isn't that. This is at least, I mean, it might have similar practical effect, but it seems like this is more about aimed at the age restriction.
Well, so here's how it's already being implemented. So Australia applied this to, I think, 16-year-olds for social media, and within the first day of that being passed and implemented, there were already kids sharing with each other ways to get around it so they get access to the internet. In the UK, they did something similar to prove you're an adult for different content. But now what we're seeing is that the governments are pressuring places like X and Facebook to censor any sort of information and hold people more accountable online if they say something or do something that's against their hate speech, whatever rhetoric. So I think it's a gateway. It's like opening the floodgate a little bit because they
Slippery
want you.
slope.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Do you want a Biden-esque administration that put all kinds of exactly. But did not only what they did with social media, but when they wanted all that information from the banks to flag stuff. This is what you set government up for when you do this, even if you're doing it with good intentions.
Yes.
And this is why I don't like this. And I know that does not solve the problem of kids sticking their nose in their phone all day long.
That comes back to the parents.
But like you said, Susie, that's the parents.
It is.
Government is not your daddy.
It is not. Or mommy.
No.
There's another big change, speaking of government, coming to the Trump administration. Attorney General Pam Bondi is on the way out. What's your take on that? We're going to talk about that a little bit more here at 7:20.
Before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Everybody wants me to dance. Could you imagine FDR dancing?
On News Talk STL.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story. The assassination of Martin Luther King Jr.
Larry Connors USA.
Now weeknights 6 until 8
on News Talk STL.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stiefel, and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stiefel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be.
It's Flashback Friday.
This is your celebration. Celebrate good times. Come on. Let's celebrate. Celebrate good times. Come on. Let's celebrate.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this dysfunctional radio station. It's The Right Mind Show with me, Todd Showalter, at 5 on Saturday. And, you know, speaking of dysfunctional, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Hey, wait a minute. Is there a little theme here? Since we're about to talk about Pam Bondi being shown the door?
A little bit of dysfunction?
A little bit of a theme happening with the bump music, just saying. I love Cool in the Gang.
Me too. This was the
I know I'm the metal
tryout for Palms routine.
Oh, no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, I think of this as when your home team wins the game, then they play this at the end of
Very
this.
popular in that time frame. Yep.
I gotta tell you, I could listen to Cool in the Gang all day. I love Cool
Saw
in
them
the
in
Gang.
concert at Six
Oh,
Flags.
see, I'm jealous of that. I would love to have seen that.
I did.
Okay, Pam Bondi is on her way out, hence Jerome playing Cool in the Gang celebration.
Some people are quite happy about that.
In my defense, Nana Nana Hey Hey Goodbye is from too early. From
That's true. It did not make it. Didn't fit into Flashback Friday. All right, and I think Motley Crue's "Don't Go Away, Mad, Just Go Away" is probably in the early '90s. That may be '89. That was off the Dr. Feelgood album. I don't know. But this is the second major shakeup when it comes to President Trump's cabinet here as well. So get your thoughts on that. We got a lot of people kind of weighing in on that. But go into the weekend knowing that you're on it. So when it comes to being informed, because you've got RedState.com as your go-to source. So, Susie, what should we check out before we, check out for the weekend?
This is the Red State Rundown.
I don't want to scare you, but the featured image from this article will do it. It's one of those crazy, clown things, I think, from It. Bob Hoag's got a VIP article. It's titled, "Stay Frosty, Friends. I just almost got AI scammed by my own voice."
Oh, jeez.
He told us this story yesterday. It is scary. You want to read this. It's VIP, but you need to sign up and become a VIP member and check it out, because it is a cautionary tale about how good the technology is getting and how easy it is to be scammed. So I want to definitely check that one out. Also from Bob, we got Boom. Operation Never Say Die hits L.A., nabs multiple suspects in multi-million-dollar fraud probe. So this was one of the fraud investigations. This one happened to be in L.A. Mm-hmm. They nabbed a bunch of people that were involved in this, and Bob's got the write-up on that. And then we also have from Levon Satanian, Unreal. Pelosi warns Dems that midterm elections could be rigged. Be on guard. So now Nancy Pelosi's out there worrying that the elections are going to be rigged, I guess, in favor of the Republicans.
Now they're worried about election integrity?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's nice to know.
Absolutely.
So she wants to make sure that all of the votes are only cast by legal voters and that everybody's documented that they're the right
voter.
Well,
that whole Save America thing, the Republicans are trying to rig the election that way.
Oh, by not letting illegal voters vote?
By insisting that you have to have an ID when, most people can't get one.
Right. Well, just you women folk.
And insisting that you have to prove you're an American citizen.
Right. But it's particularly you women folk from what I hear.
Well, yeah. I mean, Nancy is championing us for sure.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so the big news, Pam is getting the boot. Pam Bondi is getting shown the door. The president.
Here are your parting prizes.
Yeah, the parting prize is a job somewhere. We don't know where yet.
It's in the private sector, though.
Yeah, that I thought they kept emphasizing that, which, keep in mind, a political party is a private entity.
True.
Technically speaking. But of course, so is every think tank, so is every PAC, so is every, once you get to a certain level of politics, they basically just shuffle you from one place to another to make sure that you're fine. I read, and I don't remember whether it was the Newsmax article or the Hill article I read on this morning. One of them mentioned that that a source says the president and Pam Bondi had a tough conversation, which I'm sure it was, and then said that there was mention of a possible judicial appointment in the future. And to that, I say, oh, God, no, please, no, 1,000 times no.
And that wouldn't obviously be private sector, but I guess maybe they're talking about something
later
in
down
between.
The road.
Yeah, my understanding is they had that conversation right before he came out and gave his speech or his remarks on Wednesday night.
Okay.
So it's funny too, because literally Tuesday night, I was like, Pam Bondi's been really quiet lately. And I even said something to a couple of my colleagues. I'm like, something's in the air. And then here comes the announcement on Thursday. So, I think this is not a big shock in terms of, it's a big deal, but it's not a big shock. There were rumors of this last fall.
Yeah, and here's the thing is, it is not, it's almost unheard of for an initial presidential cabinet to remain intact for an entire term. Okay, that just rarely happens. But these are two big changes in the last couple of weeks with Kristi Noem.
Very high-profile cabinet positions, yes, and kind of in sort of not because they're moving on for other reasons, but because they aren't getting the job done.
No, and with Pam Bondi here, I always look for a source on the left and a source on the right when I'm doing my prep for the shows. But they were reporting basically the same thing, just different framing of it. One, was obviously more favorable to the president. The other wasn't.
Sure.
I'll let you figure out which one it was. Was it Newsmax or was it The Hill? I'll let you figure that out.
They can choose.
But they were reporting essentially the same thing, that the president had two beefs. One, the Epstein file debacle, which she mishandled from the get-go and flat out, frankly, got caught either lying or exposing that she didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Or a combination of both.
They're both, right.
And then the other thing is that both were reporting is that the president was frustrated that she wasn't basically returning fire with lawfare as part of basically revenge for the lawfare against him.
Or wasn't doing it effectively.
Right.
They were getting outfoxed on that.
Yeah.
And, people are going to take different views about whether this is just retribution or it is, look, you're not going to get away with lawfare and we're going to make sure you don't get away with it. But no matter how you spin that, it's been stymied.
Yeah, and she's like, we talked to Chris Arps a little bit earlier. Chris basically said that some of the efforts that they did make, she lost.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, part of that, could that be that she wasn't good at the job or the managing it, or are the cases just not there? Or are they just really weak?
Could be a combination. And that's that is what ties into the whole U.S. attorney issue. Like I was mentioning, because the U.S. attorneys are not getting affirmed,
right?
Because they're being held up in the Senate. So then you don't have a DOJ that's working with its U.S. attorneys well. So
yeah, and this is what they call the blue slip thing, which a lot of people don't understand what that is. So essentially, any U.S. senator can stop any appointment for any reason or no reason. It's just as part of the Senate rules. And that's what's happening right now.
Right, because the Democrat senators are just stopping them just to stop them, no matter what, which means that hangs them all up. And so you can appoint somebody for 120 days, and then they're no longer, their appointment's no longer good.
That's sort of what happened with, what's her name?
Elena Haba.
Yeah, Haba. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and a bunch of them. Bill O'Saley. I mean, same thing. All across the United States, it's happening over and over because the Senate is doing this. The Democratic senators.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to Pam Bondi's removal and then Kristi Noem before then,
Right.
I hear some people saying Kash Patel might be next. But do you think that this might be due specifically to their performance, or is this a ploy to try to hopefully wrinkle people back in before the midterms?
Yes.
Yeah, those aren't mutually exclusive.
Yeah, I mean, with Pam Bondi, I have absolutely no issue believing this is performance. And again, Susie, you said earlier you're not a fan. I'm not a fan. I was complaining about this from the day he announced her as his pick.
Yeah.
And so I think she fulfilled what I thought she was going to do.
I think it's two sides of the same coin on the performance issue too, because with Bondi, I think there were, and again, I don't want to diminish. She did have a lot of successes that are kind of lower key successes. The DOJ has actually been, first of all, it's been fighting battles right and left, and they've been winning a lot of them at the appellate level and before the Supreme Court. They've been doing a lot of things right, but it's the kind of stuff that's not sexy and flashy, so you don't hear about it. And it's not an easy job. But from a performance standpoint, she wasn't hitting the high marks, and she was making comms blunders that just weren't working. With Kristi Noem, there was some performance that was great and some that was so-so and some that wasn't, but it was all about me, vanity project, and then there was the ad campaign situation.
And you don't do that with Donald J. Trump in there. You do not try to compete for the spotlight with him. Now, about your point about bringing people back in before the midterms, who is one of the most crucial voter bases of the Republicans who are ticked off at the administration right now? Gun owners,
Yes.
Second Amendment groups. Pam Bondi has a terrible record on the Second Amendment, including as Attorney General under Donald Trump. The Second Amendment groups are pissed.
Which is why I don't think Todd Blanche gets the final.
Yeah, that could very well be, because they have made it very clear we're willing to keep our ball and stay home on this. We helped in the last election, but you've got Pam Bondi prosecuting cases on that the Second Amendment groups say this violates the Second Amendment, and yet she's aggressively defending gun control laws, targeting gun owners, that sort of thing. So I think that there's an element of that as well. That's my chief complaint with Pam Bondi is her horrific record on the Second Amendment.
Now, will it be enough?
I don't know.
That is yet to be seen and heard, I suppose, but you can hear us on the NewsTalkSTL app, which is free to download. You don't need to show your ID to use it. You can just download it right onto your phone, computer, any device that has app capabilities, and then you can bring us with you wherever you are. If you're out and about and you can't stay in your car all day, go ahead and throw your earbuds in. Listen to us live from the NewsTalkSTL app.
A celebration to last throughout the years.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
They are talking about Epstein today. You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow is over 50,000 right now.
On News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scott with your first alert forecast. Going to be tracking temperatures climbing towards the lower 80s this afternoon. Could see a few isolated storms, nothing too impressive. Till we head off into late Friday night, early Saturday morning. Could see some widespread showers and storms pulling back in from the west. Some of those could have some stronger winds. We'll continue to keep a close eye on those storms. Eventually showers into Saturday, clearing by the afternoon hours. And Easter Sunday, things are looking drier. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures only reaching back towards around the 60-degree mark. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
Remember those magical moments in Mom's kitchen? The heavenly aroma of fresh baked cookies? At Trolley Stop Bakery in Chesterfield's Forum Shopping Center, our co-op of talented bakers has been perfecting that homemade magic for 4 decades. From the gooeyest cookies in town to custom pies, cobblers, and cakes, everything's made from scratch, just like Mom and Grandma's recipes. Need that perfect corporate gift? We ship our famous cookies nationwide. The Trolley Stop Bakery, 67 Forum Shopping Center, or TrolleyStopBakery.com. Because some traditions are too sweet not to share.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
I don't care. I really don't care if I hurt someone's feelings based on what I'm going to say. I expect pushback from some, maybe praise from others, but I'm not making remarks for either. I'm just sick and tired, disgusted, nauseated by the Hollywood or music stars who make a great living in our nation, only to turn around and trash it. There are many examples. The latest, Bruce Springsteen. At a recent concert in Minneapolis, he took time from performing to lecture the crowd on how bad America was, and waving a No King sign. Since he was in a blue city, blue state, I'm sure he expected massive applause. But as one at the concert later said, what an elitist, self-righteous POS. That is a piece of stuff. Another said, I came from music, not a political speech. That echoed maybe what many thought. Springsteen has had several big hits. Dancing in the Dark, Born to Run, and a 1984 song, Born in the USA. And only in the USA could that collection of music get him $500 million from a nation and people he condemns.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
You should know that when I endorse Wellington Environmental, it's because I believe and know they will do you right. Wellington takes pride in providing homeowners and businesses whatever they need. You need some dustless blasting? They will take care of that. You need some mold remediation? They can do that. They take pride in training their team to perform multiple services and having the equipment ready to get jobs finished. That's important to you. You make just one call, and you call a company that's been around for more than 35 years with more than 45 technicians in the field. Most of you know finding good workers, then having them show up on time could be difficult. Not for Wellington Environmental. They're there at the designated time, ready to go. Check them out to see what they could do for you. Dustless blasting or anything else you need. Wellington Environmental, 314-644-4930. 314-644-4930. Be well with Wellington.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere. The 80s. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
You gotta fight for your right to party. You gotta fight.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
You know what the other rights we fight for?
What?
It's not just a party.
Okay, but that's a good one.
It's for, like, our rights of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness.
Oh, those sort of traditional ones.
Yeah, should we update our thinking on those rights, though, and add to them? See, I found this article, which was interesting, on this place called RedState.com.
Heard of it.
You should check that out here. It is 7:37 right now, and we've got Ward Clark from RedState.com as well. So, Ward, let me just ask you a blanket question here. What would an inalienable right to commerce look like? Because that's one of the things you were writing about yesterday.
Well, it is, and in advance, let me say I apologize if my voice is a little bit rough. I'm still getting over CPAC crud.
Yeah, but it's given you an even more resonant voice as well, so it might even be working in your favor for the moment.
Well, that's a good thing to know.
Were there enough people at CPAC to pass around a crud?
Evidently, there were.
Okay.
It happens every time there's a large group of people from all over the country, all over the world, really, get together. They told it going back as far as when I went to basic training in the Army. They said you'll all be sick the first 2 weeks, and we were all sick the first 2 weeks. So it's a known thing. To your question, the inalienable right to commerce. I actually put a draft down towards the bottom of the article of what that would look like, because the Bill of Rights is not anything granted to us by government. It's not anything that we're permitted to do. It's a list of restrictions of things that the government cannot interfere with. The right to keep and bear arms, the right to free speech, the right to free practice of religion. And my right to commerce is like that. Congress shall make no law abridging right of the people to engage in production and commerce. Meaning, you can't get in the way. If I'm going to build a factory and build my Hyper Gizmo Widget 2000, then I'm going to build my Hyper Gizmo Widget 2000 and sell them, and the government has nothing to do about it. They can collect taxes on my income. That's established, but they cannot interfere with my right to commerce.
Yeah, see,
and commerce is at the heart of everything we do.
Yeah, see, and that's I want to go back to the original point, because I know Susie's got a question for you here. I have had to explain this to so many people over the years who assume, even those good-natured, fighting on the right side of an issue on the right, who are conservatives or libertarians, and they still have this thought that the rights are granted by government, and the Bill of Rights will say, well, the Second Amendment gives you the right to self-defense. No, it does not. The First Amendment gives you the right to practice. No, it does not. It recognizes an inherent human right, and it says government cannot interfere with that. And just that flip of how you look at that dynamic should change everything when it comes to policy, because one assumes government can be benevolent and give you a right, and the other assumes the right is there whether government recognizes it or not, and so the pressure is on where's government going to go. So I'm glad you said that, because that is such a crucial concept that so many people who go through public schools don't understand.
Yeah, and it's a key concept. And I would take it a step farther. The rights, natural rights as defined and recognized in the Bill of Rights, being in that those are natural rights, I think they apply to everybody, not just citizens of the United States, although we're fortunate to have been founded by men who recognized those rights. People in China, people in Iran, people in Russia are still have those inalienable human rights. It's just that their government illegitimately denies them.
And that's why they hate us.
Yeah.
Ward, what about the argument, or would there be an argument that this is already encompassed within a fair reading of like the First Amendment, the right to associate, and maybe maybe under the umbrella of some of the other rights that are already set forth in the Bill of Rights?
The penumbras and emanations.
Exactly.
The term. You could make an argument, yeah, and I like having things spelled out very plainly, like the Second Amendment. I'm a Second Amendment absolutist. I should be able to go into the gun shop that Kevin Costner walked into in the movie The Highwayman and buy a Thompson submachine gun. And I like things to be very unambiguous.
You'll notice nobody's
we're operating under the current system, and look where it's got us.
You'll notice nobody's arguing with you here in the studio.
Oh, no, yeah, I wouldn't have expected that.
All right, the article is called "Should We Recognize an Inalienable Human Right to Commerce?" You can find that at RedState.com. Okay, so then what would be the question about, okay, but you got to get, at the local level, you've got to get permits, you've got to have environmental studies, you've got to have, whatever the regulations, the restrictions are to get your business. Would that be something that would be affected by recognizing a right to commerce?
Very likely. In places like California, I think they would resist to the very bitter end, giving up any local control. But I'll give you an example. Right here where I live, in rural Alaska, if I want to set up a building and start a business, I just go ahead and do it. The borough stopped requiring permits about 2 or 3 years ago, business licenses. All I got to do is pay my property taxes, which, we can make a separate argument about property taxes. Here in the borough, they go to support the schools and the borough taking care of the side roads. That's the only income the borough gets is from property taxes. There's no sales tax. There's no state income tax here in Alaska. But that's how I think things should be. And in other countries, surprisingly, Japan, if you want to open a business, you just go ahead and do it.
Ward, why do you think the reason is that the founders didn't spell this particular right out?
I do know that there was a lot of argument over the Bill of Rights. There's a lot of it's described in the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers. For example, the famous phrase, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, Thomas Jefferson, I think it was Thomas Jefferson, who had originally written life, liberty, and property. And some of the other founders didn't like the wording of that. They thought it would be taken wrong by, the farmers, the people, lower income people, thinking that the Constitution was written to only encompass, big landowners and people like that, who were the wealthy people at the time: plantation owners, big landowners, big farmers, and some of the people in the cities. So they changed it to the pursuit of happiness, and maybe there was a little bit of that involved.
All right, we're visiting with Ward Clark from RedState.com. We just got a couple minutes here left, Ward. But one of the other things you updated on in one of your articles is this whole White House ballroom plans thing, because a judge says, and to paraphrase, because I'm not sure I'm going to get the quote right, any president is the steward and the keeper of the White House, not the owner of the White House, saying you got to get congressional approval before you do these sorts of renovations. Of course, that ruling comes after the West Wing is literally in rubble completely. But there was an update on the approval process from that. What is new, and does that change anything regarding the confines of the ruling the judge gave?
Well, the panel, and the name of the panel has slipped out of my mind right now, and I'm standing here in my living room in the dark.
I'll get it for you, Ward. Don't worry.
Pardon me. But the panel that is overseeing this project has approved the final plans for the ballroom. And you're right. The East Wing this judge has granted an injunction, although he delayed it, I think, for a certain amount of time to allow for an appeal. But he's found that he thinks the plaintiffs in that case have a reasonable expectation of victory. I think that's the term. And Susie, correct me if I'm phrasing the lawyerly term wrong.
No, you got it.
But my question on that was, well, okay, say they win the suit, what are they going to do? Are they going to reassemble the East Wing? Are they just going to turn a crank backwards and have it? It's gone. It's been torn down.
Right.
All of the material's been hauled away. Yeah. So it's at this point, all they can do is go forward in whatever form that's going to be. And one of the points I make in the article is, not long ago, President Trump was feted in Britain in Windsor Castle. Most countries have big places where they can take big groups of people for big events. Well, who's bigger than us? who's bigger than the United States? When we go big or we go home. And I thought the ballroom was a great idea from the first time I heard for it. Yeah, let's show the rest of the world how it's done.
Right. Yeah, it's the National Capital Planning Commission, and they're this body that was appointed, and they've been reviewing these plans for a while. So the timing of their decision was coincidental with the judge's ruling. It didn't really have anything to do with it directly. No. But yeah, to your point, I mean, we're kind of in this limbo now with the judicial ruling. Now, I think the argument that's being made is not that the ballroom can't be constructed, but that it has to be approved by, for instance, Congress.
Right.
And so that would be where we would be left needing to get yet another measure passed through a recalcitrant Congress. But if you were asked to kind of bust out your crystal ball, Ward, where do you see this finally ending up?
I have a funny feeling it's going to go forward. Like I said, the East Wing's gone. They've got to put something up. Why not go ahead with the plan? And I would suspect at least a few Democrats would probably say, yeah, let's go ahead. John Fetterman, I'd be willing to bet, would vote for it in the Senate. He's proved to be maybe the last reasonable Democrat. I'm sure there's lots of things I would disagree with John Fetterman on, but I have some respect for him. He's not completely wackadoodle like the rest of the party seems to have gone.
All right, Ward Clark from RedState.com. I really appreciate you being on. And by the way, when Ward says it's not there, the East Wing is not there. It's literally not there anymore. There is no East Wing at the moment.
It's gone.
Yeah. All right, Ward, appreciate it. We've already tagged you on social media, man. We will talk to you again soon. Hope you get to feeling better over the weekend.
Oh, I'm sure I will. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ward. Hey, the pro-life event that you do not want to miss is next month. You want to hear from Riley Gaines. She is going to be the featured speaker at the Missouri Right to Life Make Missouri Pro-Life Again banquet, which is on May 20th. Get more information and reserve your ticket at MissouriLife.org.
You missed 2 classes and no homework.
State Freedom Caucus Unfiltered, Sunday nights at 7 on News Talk STL. Hear all the behind-the-scenes stories about what the State Freedom Caucus is doing across the country, directly from the legislators and the people that are doing it. State Freedom Caucus Unfiltered, this Sunday night at 7 with your host, Tim Jones. State Freedom Caucus Unfiltered, now Sunday nights at 7 on News Talk STL.
Craving seafood but worried it'll be too spicy or break the bank? La Juicy Seafood in O'Fallon has you covered. They're not your typical seafood joint. Choose from 5 spice levels, including not spicy, so everyone can enjoy our famous Cajun boils. Bring the family, doodle on the tables, enjoy the full bar with legendary margaritas, and feel right at home. La Juicy Seafood, 373 Winding Woods Drive, O'Fallon. Call 696-924-9171.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Say about an 8 on the Susie dance scale. And with this particular song, all of America's boys and young men developed a crush on Whitney Houston.
How could you not? She's cute as a button.
There was no way not to.
No, she's darling.
Yeah, there was no way to not. And we're still angry at Bobby Brown for ruining her life.
No doubt.
Jerk. Just saying. All right. Crack is whack. I'm just saying. All right. Easter candy is for whom?
Well, the bunnies, obviously.
The kids.
See, that's what we should be saying.
Right?
Yeah. By the way, what is the best Easter candy? Send me your notes on social media or give me a call, 314-912-1019. I'm curious. What's the best? What's your favorite Easter candy on this? So there's a new survey. There's this service out there called PR Newswire that I get stuff sent from.
Yeah.
And there's a survey out there that says 2/3 of adults say they deserve an Easter basket, and 90% of adults admit to buying Easter candy just for themselves.
Deserve an Easter basket?
That 2/3 of adults say they should get an Easter basket. They deserve an Easter basket too. Those were the words in the survey.
Can I weigh in on this?
Please do.
Okay.
Please do.
I love candy as much as the next person. And David and I might exchange a chocolate, like a Reese's bunny or whatever in honor of Easter. No problem with that.
Just like Jesus did when he came out of the tomb. Yeah.
I do not want an Easter basket. You know why?
Why?
Because I got to figure out where to put it. You use it for one day, and then you got that green grass and stuff, everywhere in a big basket, which is kind of unwieldy, and there's no good place to store it. I don't need a basket.
What would you put in a grown-up's Easter basket? And behave, everybody. Behave. I say that, then say behave.
It is Easter, my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah, like the little colored egg, like the eggs.
Okay.
Dyed Easter eggs, and chocolate, and I don't know.
I don't know, but the grass stuff tastes terrible. I not recommend.
How do bunnies sit there and eat that stuff out in the wild?
No.
Terrible.
I mean, but for like with me, if you're gonna say, do you want an Easter basket? First, no, I don't. But secondly, if you did, what would I want in it? Well, I would want like my protein cookies that I can get at the store, or my protein powders, or so. I would say, listen, go get the snack bars like I get at Nutrition Stop. Get those, and that would be my.
Okay, that's just sad.
I know.
Don't even get a basket.
I know.
I mean, allergy medication probably.
Oh,
That's
no.
Okay, once you get to a certain age, that's how I show you I care about you on your birthday. Is you get like some electrolyte mixer stuff. You get some little those like sugar-free flavorings, and then
practical stuff.
Yeah, you get some Tylenol maybe, but
I need some new string for my catcher's mitt. Maybe put that in my basket.
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, it's not a gift-giving thing as much as it is like little treats, like, candy makes sense, but the biggest gift is Jesus.
Of course. Of course. Which is why we have the chocolate Easter bunnies.
No, it's not why we have them.
Okay.
Okay, well, but the little Reese's Easter egg chocolate, those are the best.
Those are good.
Those are fantastic.
Yeah. Right.
Anything of that nature is great. It looks like 101 is not a fan, though. He says, when will people ever grow up in regards to getting Easter egg?
Right, and because I was actually really surprised by the PR thing. It says 2/3 of adults say they want. I'm like,
I'm calling BS on that.
I'm also going to go back
right.
to like I think Dave Barry retired, or he may have.
No, I think he's still around.
Does he still write? He's still write for Miami Herald?
I don't know.
Dave Barry is so funny, but I was reading one of his books back in college, and I was laughing so hard. I'm going to paraphrase what he referred to when he talked to. There's an age in life when you should stop expecting other people to make a big deal of your birthday.
Yeah.
That age is 11.
Oh,
and so I transfer that over to the Easter Bunny thing. It's like I think I stopped doing Easter, but I was in grade school when my parents were like, "Yeah, you're too old for this."
I want to know how they ask that question, because I could see anybody if they say, "Do you feel like you deserve an Easter basket?" going, "Well, sure," because it seems like it's kind of a gimme question, not like they're sitting there thinking like, "Who's getting?"
Well, it was responding to the question. Yeah.
I know, but so I feel like that's one of those questions that people are going to instinctively say yes to because it's asked in that way, as opposed to.
Hey, Allison, I like different calibers in my basket. I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that.
No, I guess the word "deserved" is what really throws me off.
That's what caught me too. Yeah.
Would you accept an Easter basket? I would probably say yeah, but do you feel entitled?
Yeah, I don't like that.
I'm a grown adult. I could go get one myself if I really wanted one that badly.
I agree with you.
Now with the Easter egg hunts, though, those I have no problem with adults engaging in that activity.
Particularly if they put on those like dinosaur outfits or the inflatable things and run around like doing that. I saw a couple of reels
for
about
Easter?
that. Yeah, like to make the Easter egg hunt even funnier and wilder, they like dress them in like the inflatables.
I don't remember dinosaurs being part of Easter growing up.
No. This isn't like. This is not canon.
No, exactly.
Maybe the Mormons,
this is just a way to make the Easter egg hunt part of it even funnier for like if grown-ups are running around doing it.
I still think dress like the bunny, hop around to find them.
Okay. So what would the candy be? What's the best candy?
The Reese's, anything with
like the Reese's.
Yeah.
What about you, Jerome?
I like either the solid bunnies because like the little ears taste better, but other than that, yeah, I'd have to say the Reese's eggs are probably the staple.
You mean salad ears taste better than hollow ears?
Or what is that, like the Crunch Bar with the little dots?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, those like Rice Krispie things inside.
Yeah, I mean, I could every now and then it's good, but that was like the staple. I'm like, no, just give me the solid bunny.
Just the
traditional. Gene on Rumble says Starburst or Jelly Belly jelly beans.
Those are good.
Those are.
I
really
like Jelly
good,
Bellies, but not jelly beans because the jelly beans are just sugar. The Jelly Bellies have the different tastes to them.
That's what I'm a sucker for. Is like literally like the 49-cent bag of jelly beans at CVS.
I can't do it.
Yeah, Corporeal Being says Jolly Rancher jelly beans are pretty amazing. Those
sounds
are
good
too. Yeah. We're getting a lot of those in here.
You're supposed to use the jelly beans to lure the Easter bunny to your house.
That's right. Oh, Allison thinks you're talking about the Crackle Bar.
Crackle. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay,
I think
so I know
there was another one called Crunch.
Yeah, Crunch Bar is what I'm familiar with.
Which
I've never heard
Crackle I think is a similar type of thing as well.
It's
so
like
you
Coke and
guys are
Pepsi.
more of like the chocolate thing, and I'm looking more of like the fruity, like sugary thing.
Yeah.
I
don't know what that says about us.
There's probably a study.
I'm sure there is.
I deserve my chocolates.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. And of course, for dessert, I get a giant chocolate chip cookie. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. An affiliate of Iran State Television claims that a U.S. fighter pilot has ejected from an aircraft over southwest Iran. There's been no comment yet from the Pentagon or the White House. America's employers added a surprisingly strong 178,000 jobs last month, rebounding from a dismal February. The Labor Department says the unemployment rate dipped to 4.3%. Don't think we'll be seeing Pam Bondi in the unemployment line anytime soon, although she is out of a job. President Trump has fired the Attorney General, putting Deputy AG Todd Blanche in the position on an interim basis. After spending some time orbiting the home planet, 4 astronauts now have their sights set on the moon.
NASA's Artemis II astronauts have fired their engines and are now blazing toward the moon. They're on track for a lunar fly-around early next week. NASA's aiming for a lunar landing in 2028. And former British astronaut Tim Peake tells Sky News it really represents a new era of space exploration.
The moon is full of all the minerals and rare earth metals that you will find on Earth, because Earth and moon were once part of the same body. And so the moon can teach us a huge amount about our own planet. It can provide resources. And so this is the cusp of that new era of space exploration.
I'm Ben Thomas.
Tesla has sold more vehicles over the past several months.
The company's quarterly report showed sales rose 6% January through March to a total of 358,023 vehicles. The recovery follows a year of plunging sales and the loss of Tesla's title as the world's biggest maker of electric vehicles. That boast now goes to a Chinese rival. But even with the surge, the total sales fell short of analyst expectations. Bob Agnew reporting.
Wall Street is closed in observance of Good Friday. The market ended mixed yesterday. More on these stories, townhall.com.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or maybe you care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scott with your first alert forecast. Going to be tracking temperatures climbing towards the lower 80s this afternoon. Could see a few isolated storms, nothing too impressive. Until we head off into late Friday night, early Saturday morning, could see some widespread showers and storms pulling back in from the west. Some of those could have some stronger winds. We'll continue to keep a close eye on those storms. Eventually showers into Saturday, clearing by the afternoon hours. And Easter Sunday, things are looking drier. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures only reaching back towards around the 60-degree mark. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Looking for a great place to play golf and host your next event? Sugar Creek Golf Course in High Ridge is more than just exceptional golf. Our clubhouse is the perfect spot for private parties, family get-togethers, and unforgettable celebrations. Make your special day even better with our welcoming atmosphere and outstanding service. Visit sugarcreekgolfcourse.com for more information. That's sugarcreekgolfcourse.com, where great golf and great memories meet. sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
The Laborers International Union of North America, Local 110, was formed in 1933 and from the beginning has strived for progress and the well-being of others. The laborers of Local 110 are hardworking men and women who take pride in their great work. They are the fastest-growing union of construction workers and one of the most effective unions representing plants and quarries. Laborers Local 110 has the best medical benefits, pension, education, and heavy construction training in the market. Visit lu110.com and start your future today.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you being intentionally dense?
Huh? Susie Moore.
Have you ever been mistaken for a man?
No. Have you?
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
We're a different kind of clown show.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! This is your cousin.
We keep reminding everybody, Tuesday is Election Day.
Yes.
Election Day. We talk a lot about the big picture, replacing the state income tax at the state level. But on Tuesday, many of us, a lot of us are going to be voting on local tax proposals, and there are a lot of them out there. So how do we separate, if there are any good ones, from the bad ones. Okay, let's go over that with our friends from Mo Tax Relief Now. We've got Dennis Ganahl on with us once again. Dr. Dennis Ganahl, good to talk to you. Okay, a lot of tax proposals on the ballot here, and some of the bigger ones out there. Let's first zero in on maybe the top couple ones you want people to be aware of, but then we can't cover all of them because there are so many out there. There's a prop everything, it seems like, in almost every community. Then I want to get into how can voters look them up and know what to look for to decide whether we've got a good or bad idea. But what jumps out at you here in the region as maybe the top one or two that people need to really take note of?
Well, good morning, Mike. I'll tell you, the first thing I'd like to do is let's change the name from Election Day. We're going to call this April 7th Predatory Union Tax Tuesday. Because that's really what we've got. Ever since St. Louis County reported that the senior property tax freeze was going to, cap $20 million, the school districts, the fire districts, the ambulance districts, everybody that's a union has gone crazy. And so this year, we've got 4 schools that have property tax increases. We've got 27 different and distinct fire and EMS district tax increases in St. Louis County. And then and we can divide, and then we've got another community tax increase. So we can go through them any way you want. I think the first thing that people need to know is that there is no tax increase that's a good tax increase.
Yeah.
There's always efficiencies that government can put together and find the money and fund what they need to do. Everybody has plenty of money except the taxpayer. Clayton has a property tax. The thing that people have to watch on their ballots is that, it'll say like 48 cents per $100. Mm-hmm. Well, that 48 cents per $100 sounds pretty innocent. But when you take a look at it, it's actually $480 per $100,000, which is about where we are in most home ranges anymore. So if people thought about it from that perspective, that they would be saying, well, this tax is going to cost me $480 a year, I think they would start looking differently. So, Clayton's offering something that's going to cost people $511 per $100,000. So that could cost the average property owner in Clayton, I'm betting $2,000 a year.
Yeah, because
Ferguson and
because you're going to have a tough time finding a $100,000 house in most of Clayton. They're going to be $3, $4, $5, $6 million homes out there.
Yeah, so we're getting into significant money. And then, Ferguson, Florissant, they've got a $480 per year per $100,000 tax. Merrimack Valley Schools has a $950 per $100,000, and Riverview Gardens has just as $400 and $500 per $100,000 too. So it's off the chart.
Yeah, we're visiting with Dennis Ganahl from Mo Tax Relief Now. So I'm seeing signs everywhere. Some of the interesting ones, and they're, I think, piggybacking on some of the projects that you're involved with as far as property tax reform. And I've seen some that says, vote for Prop whatever, support emergency services, eliminate property taxes. And so are there any good ones out there, or are all of these basically a play on words? Have you seen any of these, Dennis, that makes you say we should actually consider that one, or are all of these just a way to generate and extract more revenue out of taxpayers?
No, it's just all a way to extract money differently out of taxpayers. Mm-hmm. So what they see us doing all this work to modify and reform property tax process. So they know it's going to be more difficult. Like we're trying, yesterday St. Charles bill was put through by Adam Schnelting that would allow St. Charles to move their school board elections to November on even number of years. Well, that's what we're also trying to do with property tax. So instead of doing a 10 to 15% return, on voters, that we would have a 60 to 70% of the voter turnout, which we know that this would change the outcome on these tax increases. Because right now the unions, they've got control. Monarch has spent tens of thousands of dollars, putting banners up, putting signs up. A couple of years ago, we got threatened that, we wouldn't have ambulances to pick up the seniors when a ambulance tax was passed through. You've got 27 distinct fire and EMS district tax increases. all of the union fire departments have put together a 1% sales tax. So what they're trying to do is migrate off the property tax and be less dependent upon that and put on a 1% sales tax, which is a lot of money. You know, they'll say, oh, it's just a penny. Yeah, it's 1%. And so you've got 13 fire departments which have just one sales tax. You know, it's a 1% sales tax. Excuse me. We call them the grabby fire and EMS departments. Then we've got there's 6 greedy double dippers. So that like Monarch Fire Department, they have the sales tax at 1%. And then they're also trying to float a $42 million bond issue, you know, for equipment, for payroll, for construction, for this, for that. I mean, I've never seen anything but a brand new fire truck sitting in front of Walmart when everybody's in there shopping for food. So, you know, we call them the greedy double dippers. And then there's the one that we call the gluttonous triple dipper. Kinloch Fire Department has actually 3 different propositions on the ballot to increase it. They've got the sales tax, they've got and 2 different property tax levies. So, I mean, it's pretty hard to justify any of that.
Do you feel like, Dennis, that this is to some degree reacting to the momentum that tax reform has right now? Basically, get while the getting's good, because people are quickly about to slam the door on any additional taxes. This may be the last chance because, you know, you said 27, and I'm like, that sounds right, because no matter where I am in the region, no matter what county, I'm seeing Prop something signs somewhere, so everybody's got something. They're usually not this prevalent, but I've got to think that this is the establishment reacting to the pressure that the grassroots is putting on lawmakers to knock off the tax increases and start cutting our taxes.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Mike. I mean, these are firefighters, so where there's smoke, there's fire, right? That's exactly what we've got going on. You know, you've got Parkway, the superintendent there. She's calling big meetings. You know, we're in an existential threat with these property taxes, and Rockwood's doing the same thing. I'm sure the same story is being played all across the county and across the state. I mean, this is just St. Louis County we're talking about. You know, you've got these same property tax issues and ambulance and fire and other school districts all across the state. It's happening. And I know it's due to the tax reform that we're working on.
Yeah, and also I've noticed that, like, for instance, Richmond Heights, they and Maplewood and some school districts, I saw Rockwood on their social media, they're blatantly using government resources to promote these tax, which is flat out illegal. But I am seeing it all over the place. They're basically daring everybody to file complaints, and there are so many of them. This is one of the things that ticks me off the most about it, in addition to the constant asking for tax increases, is that they are so blatant, Dennis, about violating explicit Missouri law and using government assets to promote tax increases and ballot measures.
Mike, that's a great point. And we should encourage all of your listeners today to contact the Missouri Ethics Commission and file a complaint against their fire department, against their school district for doing this. This is exactly how Sam Page ended up in court when Tom Sullivan filed a complaint with the MEC, and that's why he's in court right now and had to resign from his executive position with St. Louis County. So everybody should file complaints with the MEC and have them start investigating these unions for, you know, using our tax money to fund their tax increases.
Yeah, and or at least pull out of running for re-election. We're visiting with Dennis Ganahl from Mo Tax Relief now. Okay, so I know I've asked a version of this a few minutes ago. I just want to make it as clear as I possibly can. You and your team have looked at, I'm assuming you've looked at all of these propositions that are out there throughout the region here. Are there any that you all would support, or are all of these tax increases? I just want to make this as explicit as possible, even though I've asked the question similar to that just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, we do not support tax increases. And, you know, even one in Ellisville, which you could say, well, that's kind of a sweet little tax. You know, they're trying to take their baseball fields, and instead of having natural turf, they want to put down artificial turf. Well, that little $3.6 million bond issue is going to cost the average family in Ellisville $950 over the lifetime of the bonds. So, you know, if you don't have a child that's playing baseball, you're going to be paying $1,000 tax for, the other kids to play baseball. I mean, that might be something you want to do for your community, but I'm not sure I would.
Yeah, and not just the kids, because us grown-ups in the old man baseball, we play on those fields too. So if you want to benefit the 50 and 60-year-old guys playing baseball, you could do that. But listen, it's our job to pay for the fields we play on, not the taxpayers.
Well, and to be fair, a community can make that decision on their own if that's what they want their community to be. The other ones that we've talked about, they're all basically union-driven. That unions that we're forced to deal with. There are a couple of issues that everybody should vote yes on.
Okay, tell me about those.
This is across the state. And so, this past fall during the special session, there was a bill, Senate Bill 3 that was passed. And that gave counties the opportunity to opt in. Of course, the Democrats in St. Louis County opted us out and St. Louis County out. But there are 97 other counties in Missouri that are opted in. And so some of these counties will have their property taxes capped at 5%, and some of them will have their taxes capped at 3%. So we encourage everybody to vote yes in those counties, even though the court cases, it's in court, and we haven't decided whether or not it was legal for them to do this. That they would allow it for some counties, and some counties were opted out.
Are any of those counties in the region here, Dennis?
Well, Jefferson, Franklin, and St. Charles County are both opted in for a 0% on the county. So all three of those counties could vote and say, hey, no, we're not going to have any increase in property taxes. So we would certainly encourage them to vote yes on that. The rest of them are, the 75 counties that have 5% are further out. St. Louis City and St. Louis County are opted out of any property tax relief in that bill.
All right. And Dennis, of course, you and I are going to see each other on, the 30th, I think it is. We're going to be at the Road to Zero event with Americans for Prosperity, News Talk STL, Nick Schroer, Ben Keithley. That's going to be at the Lodge in De Pere. And so people can RSVP for that event at the Americans for Prosperity website. Just look for events. And Dennis, I'm assuming I'm going to run into you at that one because I'm going to be there emceeing that event as well. So people can get a lot more information about the elimination of the state income tax and what that would look like as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mike. I'm looking forward to the 30th. We're going to invite all of our members to be there. We had a hearing in the Senate on that bill. It was Wednesday, I believe. And so I think we're looking good in that committee. I think we'll be voted out of that committee. And then last week before, we voted TABOR, the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, out of that committee. So that's Ben Brown's committee. We're really looking forward to getting those on the Senate floor.
All right, then we'll see you then. And, of course, the website to follow the work that you do, Dennis, real quick, is what?
Is motaxreliefnow.org.
All right, we'll talk to you again soon, Dennis. Thanks so much.
Hey, thank you, Mike, as always.
All right, President Trump is showing another cabinet member the door. I've got the update for you in the news dump. That's going to come your way at around 8:21.
Don't try to make me stop. No inspiration. You have a soul so dark it is no more. And all at once depart.
Mike Ferguson.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Susie Moore.
What'd he say?
He said, I love it when a plan comes together.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Stop it right now before you blow us all away.
Spring has sprung at Daniel's Farming Greenhouses on Juggerman and St. Peters. Discover our breathtaking 55,000 square feet of greenhouses featuring 8,000 hanging baskets, hundreds of perennials, and 100,000 pods of colorful annuals. From vegetable plants to premium grass seed, mulch to herbs, our knowledgeable staff is ready to answer all your questions. Start spring off right with pansies, potted tulips, and everything your garden craves. Daniel's Farming Greenhouses. Visit us today on Juggerman or online at danielsfarminggreenhouses.com.
Game day comfort steps up to the plate Saturday, April 11th, when the Cardinals face the Boston Red Sox downtown. That night, fans can score a Cardinals dugout hoodie presented by Mercy, built for cool nights, late innings, and early season baseball. It's a classic, easy-to-wear layer you'll reach for all year long. Available in medium or extra large while supplies last. Don't miss this spring matchup. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Every Sunday home game is a Kids Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Fred Birding games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family favorite activities. Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
And then the media.
1019 and 94.1.
They lying about what's going on in America. They lying about it.
News Talk STL. The 80s.
Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young.
Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where the beat?
It's Flashback Friday.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Aces high?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Very good.
There it is. There it is.
There is almost no stumping you. Of all the songs that stumped you, it was a Devo song that was actually part of their best of collection.
I know. Oh, man. All right. Basically, the message was this. We love you, but you got to go. That's the word from the president to one of his cabinet members. And also, imagine getting paid a massive severance after you quit your job.
Ooh.
Taxpayers in one St. Louis County community are footing the bill for that, and there are far more questions to the public than there are answers, and a lot of sports ball going on tonight and tomorrow. Some big games. All right, 8:22 right now. Let's do one more news dump this week.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The morning news dump.
All right, she's about to be gone. President Trump is firing Attorney General Pam Bondi. Here's the story.
In announcing the firing of Bondi, President Trump described her as a great American patriot and a loyal friend who faithfully served as Attorney General. He praised her work and said she will be transitioning to a new job in the private sector. Despite his positive comments, the president was particularly unhappy with Bondi's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Writing on social media, the president said Bondi's deputy, Todd Blanche, will step in to serve as acting Attorney General. Greg Clugston, Washington.
So is this kind of like, I want to divorce you, but can we be friends?
It sounds a little bit more like you don't got to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah, because the answer is no. Todd Blanche, the soon-to-be acting Attorney General, because I believe Pam Bondi is still technically the Attorney General. She posted on social media that she's going to be working hard for the transition. Todd Blanche, the incoming acting Attorney General, he was on Jesse Waters' Primetime on Fox last night.
The Epstein files has been a saga that's lasted for the past year. And what happened when the president signed the Transparency Act is the Department of Justice has now released all the files with respect to the Epstein saga.
Now, I haven't heard anybody say anything about Todd Blanche other than he is really good at what he does. He's very, very smart. This guy is a very, very competent lawyer at a massive federal national level. I don't have any confidence that things are going to get more transparent with the Epstein files, though.
I'm actually kind of surprised that, and I can't say for certain one way or another, but Andrew Bailey has not been mentioned as a potential successor.
Right. Yeah. So that's, but as we talked to Chris Arps a little bit earlier and go to our podcast, if you want to hear that conversation, he thinks that Andrew Bailey could possibly be as a successor, maybe if and when Kash Patel moves on to something else. So he may be in the line to move up to something else, just not this. Yeah, that's at least Chris was pontificating on that a little bit earlier, and just check out the podcast if you want to hear his reasoning for that, which I thought he made out a pretty compelling case.
Pontificating.
Yes, he was. All right, she quit. So why are taxpayers sending her off with over $200,000 in severance?
Wait, what?
Yeah, this is the question surrounding the exit of Webster Grove's city manager. KMOV's Morgan Harris explains.
Dr. Marie Peoples will be paid $138,000 along with nearly $88,000 in deferred retirement benefits as part of a severance agreement. Peoples has served as the city manager since 2021. She announced her resignation during a city council meeting last month.
So the city has not commented on why Peoples left her position, why she's resigned, or why there's a severance agreement in the first place, because typically when you quit, you don't get a severance if it's your decision to leave. So something else is going on. This is a deal that was made. I don't know who's at fault. I don't know what happened. At some point, they're going to have to disclose this. It's just the law.
It does sound like that may have been an incentive to quit.
Yes, that could absolutely be part of it. Missouri lawmakers want to ban intoxicating hemp products in the state, at least the ones that are being sold outside of dispensaries. This law has nothing to do with what's inside the dispensaries right now. So now it's up to Governor Kehoe, and he is expected to sign the bill. The proposal had wide bipartisan support in both legislative chambers. Now, if and when it's signed into law, it will ban the sale of hemp drinks like seltzers and gummies and similar products that are outside of the dispensaries. That would go into effect November 12th. And that date is on purpose because that would coincide with the start date of a new federal law addressing kind of the same issue. So basically, there are some products, as I'm understanding this, that have so little THC in them that they don't qualify to be regulated by the framework for the dispensaries and the legal marijuana industry. And so basically, they've got a loophole, and this is closing a loophole is what it sounds like.
It's just silly, though, because so for the psychoactive effect that makes people act all wonky and weird, there has to be a certain level of the THC or comparable compound in it. If you're below that, you're not going to have that sort of delayed intoxicating effect. You might get a little bit of that body feeling, though.
Sure.
But this, I don't know, this just seems like another way of monopolizing that to one specific industry.
Yeah, well, here's a good part of the bill, though, regardless what you feel about the first part, because I get the reasoning for it, but I'm still kind of annoyed that we, in the state of Missouri, because we didn't do initiative petition reform, the marijuana industry bought their own constitutional amendment. They wrote their own regulations. Somebody figured out a way to sell something outside of that, and so now it's getting cracked down on.
Mm-hmm.
The bill also bans dispensaries from disclosing medical marijuana patient information to any federal agency unless a court order requires it. That's a good thing.
Oh, especially for the 2A community, absolutely.
I almost guarantee you that is because of threats to Second Amendment rights.
Because people that are not gunners don't realize that you can have a valid reason to be on medical marijuana, and that would still disqualify you from ever legally purchasing a firearm.
Right. Yep. All right. Let's see here. Let's do a few sports things that are going on. Cardinals have their first road game of the season this afternoon. Their first 6 games were at home. That's a luxury in Major League Baseball. They play the Tigers in Detroit this afternoon. Michael McGreevy is expected to start on the mound for the Redbirds. First pitch is at 12:05. The Cardinals now have played 2 series. They have won both series 2-1. So we've got a good record for them so far. The Blues road trip continues tonight. They're in Anaheim to play the Ducks. This is the NHL's last game, late game rather. So it's a 9 p.m. puck drop, but this one's on Channel 4. KMOV's got this, and Matrix, which is Channel 2, which is owned by Channel 4. They're both going to be carrying the game. Basically, they're taking the FanDuel broadcast and just putting it on broadcast. The Blues have lost their last 2 games, but they won the 3 before that. And so they're basically still right around the 500 mark. I don't think they've been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but it's looking pretty darn impossible for them to get there. Everything would have to miraculously go right for the Blues at this point, but they're not mathematically out of it at this point.
Yeah, the Blues have been a roller coaster lately.
Yeah. And the Illini, 1 game away from a national championship. Yeah. They play UConn tomorrow. Both Final Four games are tomorrow. They play at 5:09. The winner of that game then plays the winner of Michigan-Arizona. Michigan-Arizona play right after the conclusion of UConn and Illinois. Final Four is at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. And by the way, Lucas Oil Stadium, that's not where the Pacers play basketball. That's where the Colts play football.
Oh.
That's the big dome stadium. So that's where that is, and that is going to be on TBS and TNT.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I have to tell my kids that I'm a rock star now.
On NewsTalk STL. from the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scott with your first alert forecast. Going to be tracking temperatures climbing towards the lower 80s this afternoon. Could see a few isolated storms, nothing too impressive. Until we head off into late Friday night, early Saturday morning, could see some widespread showers and storms pulling back in from the west. Some of those could have some stronger winds. We'll continue to keep a close eye on those storms. Eventually showers into Saturday, clearing by the afternoon hours. And Easter Sunday, things are looking drier. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures only reaching back towards around the 60-degree mark. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scott.
Fox News commentary with Greg Gutfeld. Next.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Here's Greg Gutfeld on who protested Trump at No Kings rallies.
Everywhere the communist hammer and sickle was proudly waved, which is no surprise. The Communist Party of America was a co-sponsor of the event, along, of course, with billionaires overseas. So, yes, this entire movement is backed and cheered on by celebs, media figures, politicians, and our global adversaries. But somehow this protest is the little guy fighting the king. Here's the truth. Life in this country is so good that its resident goofballs can don costumes and scream about it being the worst country ever. Sorry, there are no kings here, but there are elites who support democracy only when they win. And when they lose, they throw a tantrum and dress it up as revolution and hope nobody notices the billion-dollar machine behind it. And when that doesn't work, they throw rocks from the ample supply located within their own heads.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Hi, I'm Lauren Greenwood, and I'm running for Francis House School Board. It's time to stop wasteful spending and protect our children with age-appropriate, back-to-basics education and strong parental rights. Our kids deserve better. Your voice matters. Show up and vote conservative on April 7th. The district's future is on the line. Vote Lauren Greenwood for Francis House School Board.
Paid for by Greenwood for FHSD. Ron Pushkar, Treasurer. Tuesday, April 7th, your community is on the ballot. And before you vote, you need to know what you're voting on.
School board, city council.
News Talk STL has you covered. Log on to NewsTalkSTL.com for our complete voter's guide. See the issues and races on your local ballot. Know the facts. Make your choice.
I think we need some kind of change.
Then get out and vote. Because local elections aren't decided by millions. They're decided by you.
My vote counts.
See the complete voter's guide at NewsTalkSTL.com. Are you struggling with life's pressures? The Flot Line has answers. Join host Rick Hughes for biblical principles and learn how to build a spiritual flot line in your soul. Discover God's plan for your life. Sunday mornings at 9:30 on News Talk STL.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at BluffCityOutdoors.com.
What happens next?
No nuclear bomb, no nuclear weapon, not even close to it.
Happens right here.
Low key on the missiles. We want to see peace in the Middle East.
101.9 and 94.1.
Number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
Yeah, you got me on this one.
Yeah, I'd never actually heard of this group. It's called Flotsam and Jetsam.
Oh, Flotsam and Jetsam, yeah. Yeah, I used to have one of their albums, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, cassette.
Is there any like musician from the 80s you didn't own?
Oh,
something
sure.
from?
Yeah, there were some. Yeah, they were Flotsam and Jetsam. They were more in the the sort of thrash metal scene back then. So they were kind of like the underground, not really underground, because MTV I think played a couple of their songs, but Flotsam and Jetsam, they were more along the Metallica lines back when Metallica was a little edgier than they were later on. So yeah, no, I remember Flotsam and Jetsam. I just don't remember that song.
I've never heard of this group until now, and I'm awesome.
Yeah,
Right.
you'd probably like them. Yeah, but whoever sent that one in, you got me. You got me on that one. Okay, so here's a question. Should we be offended in St. Louis is the question I've got. Because there's a lot of people really upset about what some New York Mets broadcasters, the play-by-play and the color commentator, had to say during the last game of the series with the Cardinals. And I've seen some media folks, some of them are my friends, really, really angry about this, because they're kind of they're poking fun of St. Louis. And so the question I came up with, were the Mets broadcasters out of line in what they said? Did they cross a line that they shouldn't have said? Or is it just a matter of, the truth hurts and they just talked about it?
Oh.
And so that's where I've got the questions. By the way, I mentioned this the other day. My friends at Nutrition Stop, they are having a Bring a Friend Saturday. So tomorrow, if you go to Nutrition Stop there on Mexico Road, I was actually just there yesterday stocking up on a few things. Bring a friend who hasn't been there before. Tell them that you heard about Bring a Friend Saturday. Whatever nutritional supplements and whatever body care products you get there, 20% off for both of you.
And if you show up alone, they charge you 20% more, right?
They don't do that.
Okay, good.
They did not charge me 20%. No, but tomorrow, just so you know, you bring a friend, introduce them to Nutrition Stop. Say, hey, Mike was talking about Bring a Friend Saturday. Here's my friend. There's a new play, and both of you get 20% off. So I wanted to mention that because that's a really awesome deal.
And I've seen the effects that Nutrition Stop has had on you personally.
Yeah,
so
I feel
mean,
good.
Vicariously, I can highly recommend that.
Yeah. All right. So the Mets broadcasters at the game, the last game of the series on, what was that? Was that Wednesday? I guess it was. Maybe, yeah. And so they were just commenting in between while there was a stoppage in the game. And the broadcasters were kind of talking about this video. They were doing kind of the B-roll, showing just part of downtown St. Louis. And they were commenting on the fact that this isn't a real busy area. And so here's how it went. And they ended up kind of poking fun at St. Louis.
The only thing missing from that picture, as is often missing from every picture we show of downtown St. Louis, no people.
No people. Well, you know what? They want it to look picturesque. You can see a car driving by on the right. That's the only sign of life.
But there's never anybody walking around in downtown St. Louis.
It's not very often, you're right.
It's like, remember the old neutron bomb that wouldn't knock down buildings but just would eliminate all the people? It's like one of those hit St. Louis.
I guess it's just a photo op. People then run and hide, so they're not in the photo.
Okay, so that's Gary Cohen is the play-by-play guy, and Todd Zeal, of the former baseball player who actually played in St. Louis, commenting on St. Louis, downtown St. Louis. So a lot of people are really, offended. They're upset. Like, you stepped out of line. This isn't your city. Why are you making fun of us? Why are you, that's just not cool. But he didn't say anything that was wrong, that was incorrect. Now, whether it was right or wrong to say it, well, let's talk about that. But he wasn't incorrect in what he said. Unless there's a game or a concert, nothing's going on downtown St. Louis. And it's been that way for a while.
Yeah, I can definitely get that feeling of, we can criticize ourselves. So why don't you mind your own business and worry about yourself? I'll worry about myself. But at the same time, how many people do we get comments from and calls from that say that they just straight up won't go downtown anymore?
I say it.
Yeah. So
I'll go in the daytime, but I don't go at night.
So I guess there is that little bit of a sting of like, well, look at how New York's doing. Look at all the problems in a lot of big blue cities. We're not the only ones. Right. We just happen to have the common sense not to expose ourselves to it. But at the same time, yeah, why don't you mind your business? We'll mind ours.
Well, and that's basically the reaction is, this isn't your town. You're from New York. You got your own problems. Basically, you stepped across the line. You had no business. This was BS. You shouldn't have been. And they're on them for pointing out what they were seeing, saying, focus on the game. Don't talk about that. Basically, don't make us look bad. Listen, St. Louis downtown, the city has been hollowed out, and the city did it to itself.
Yeah.
And so that's the result. And the fact of the matter is, for the most part, you walk around downtown, there's nothing going on. It's empty. I mean, it just is. They weren't incorrect about that.
Well, I mean, because all the businesses have been driven out, a lot of the taxpayers have been driven out by just lunatic policies coming from the previous, mayor and her little goons. But
and the one before that,
and the one before that. I mean, the amount of people that we've lost just since I've lived here, I was almost thinking, I'm like, is it me driving everybody away? And then you start looking at the leadership.
Did
but
they put deodorant on? Did they get shower?
Am I
What's
just
going
ugly?
on?
What's going on here? But at the same time, though, I mean, it was during a sports broadcast, and there is that level of, in a sports environment, people will take jabs at each other. So a little bit of that competitive nature. So I'm not going to dwell on it as like harumph for rump. How dare you criticize us when when New York is the way it is, or when California is the way it is, or Chicago's like. It's just not the avenue. It's you got a good jab at us. We just got to come back better at you.
Yeah, and the thing was, I don't know that they were necessarily trying to like throw a jab at St. Louis. They were just kind of going, "What's the deal?"
Because it is bizarre. If you with the size of St. Louis and how large of a city, how historic of a city, how well known it is, to just see it look like a ghost town. I mean, if you're not familiar with what's going on in the area locally, then where are the people at?
Right. Well, you go to like any other like downtown area and I wouldn't even call St. Louis a major city anymore. It was at one point. It was one of the top 5 most populous cities in America. Now there's less than 300,000 people. So there's more people in St. Louis County than there are in the city. There are more people in St. Charles County than the city. I mean, so you compare it right there. But you go to any other downtown. You're from Chicago, downtown Chicago. Day or night, man, you go somewhere, there's something going on in downtown Chicago.
There are like 4 or 5 different cultures you can experience depending on the time of day.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, even to their point, if you saw, so St. Charles, like the Funny Bone area, right?
Yeah. The streets of St. Charles.
There are restaurants or entertainment. You would expect there to be people just at general regular hours. So if you saw that almost completely empty, you'd say, what's going on right now in St. Charles?
Streets of St. Charles. And then you've got Historic Main Street. Now, Historic Main Street's going to close down before Streets of St. Charles is, but the Streets of St. Charles is designed to be that mixed use entertainment type of district. And I would say you're going to see more foot traffic there, just percentage wise. I mean, obviously it's not a very big area, but downtown St. Louis just doesn't have that typical downtown thing, because downtown you do business a day and then you do the entertainment and food at night. And that's just not what St. Louis is. It's not what it does. It has been like that in the past. I mean, I remember when there was more going on. I remember, Laclede Station, or Laclede's Landing rather, was a bigger draw, and it was busy. But the city is hollowed out, and so somebody from out of town goes, dude, this place is hollowed out, and you get mad at them for saying it?
Yeah. Be like, again, going back to St. Charles, like, where are all the golf carts at, right?
That's O'Fallon as much as anything.
Yeah, but I mean, I would love to see St. Louis become the shining beacon it once was again. It does sound like the current leadership, at both state level and city level, are at least trying to work towards getting that back in the right direction. Again, maybe I'm just too thick-skinned, but I just don't understand how much. So I've also seen some comments regarding that online, not for this specific thing, but when anybody out of St. Louis wants to make a comment about it, suddenly people are running through the woodwork to come and back them up and say, no, you don't understand. Well, it doesn't take a whole lot of engaging in the city to understand what's going on with the city.
Well, and also, you remember last year we were commenting on, I don't remember which team it was, but there were some announcers from another team who were marveling at how empty Busch Stadium was. And they kept saying, this is not like St. Louis. They never bail on their team, and they were coming. But that was in the stadium in the context of the game. And then, of course, the conversation was, well, yeah, Ray's mad at the ownership of the team. And so they're sending a message on this. This was just them observing, this is a dead downtown.
Yeah.
And it really is. I mean, especially on a weekend, again, unless there's a ball game going on or games, or a big concert going on, it's pretty much a ghost town. And then you got the areas where you just don't go there because the bad guys don't take days off.
Well, and that's precisely what it is I think these comments are a reflection of the fact that if we can't guarantee that there's going to be some sort of security there, people don't feel safe enough to even be walking around wandering. Even though St. Louis, I believe you can conceal carry, you can protect yourself. But why would you?
State law. They tried to outlaw it, but
But even then, the idea that if you're not as much of a two-way supporter as I am, that you would have to consider, do I bring a firearm with me so I can go walk around down? Is it even worth it at that point?
No, it's not. And you can't take it into the stadium. You can't take it in the Enterprise Center. You can't take it into the Dome. I mean, you can't do that. But and we've also commented around Ballpark Village, you're fine because they have heavy security there.
Yeah.
And Ballpark Village, I'm not going to go downtown at night. But if I did, I don't have a problem being in Ballpark Village, but I certainly wouldn't venture out of Ballpark Village. And if I go downtown now, generally it's if I'm going to go to a game and I'm going to be in Ballpark Village.
Yeah, Ballpark Village seems to have it figured out. But again, you have a lot of private security and a lot of places where you're not going to be exposed to the roving groups of teens late at night.
Right.
So, I don't know. This also kind of reminds me a little bit of the conversation you had earlier with Ward Clark, which if people missed that earlier, then that will be on the Mike Ferguson in the Morning podcast. So I highly recommend checking that out, as well as the conversation you just had with Dennis Ganahl. And if you are somebody where you're like, man, I missed that because I left my vehicle, but I wanted to hear the conversation, just download the free NewsTalk STL app and bring us with you. It's that simple.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
He picked the wrong schoolyard to come into, I have to tell you this.
On NewsTalk STL. Simply Health with Dr. Brian Deloney.
Feel like your energy isn't what it used to be? Brain fog, fatigue, and stubborn weight aren't just aging, they're signals. This week, we're talking about how to fix the real drivers of aging and help your body function better again. Tune in.
Simply Health, Saturdays at noon on NewsTalk STL. To find out more about Simply Health Integrated Medical, log on to simplyhealthintegrated.com.
Public schools, like public libraries, should be free and open to all. Open enrollment allows parents to choose the school that's the best fit for their children. Maybe another school has a wider curriculum, is bigger or smaller. Maybe a kid is being bullied and would be more comfortable at another school. 75% of parents favor open enrollment. Open enrollment programs now exist in 43 states, and Missouri should join them. Our next-door neighbor, Kansas, has one of the strongest open enrollment policies in the nation. Kansas parents are trusted with choices and options, while Missouri parents must move out of their home to change public schools. And it's a trend. Nationwide, the percentage of students going to their chosen public school has steadily increased. Assigning kids to schools based on their zip code is the old way. Open enrollment is a better way. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Riley Gaines is coming to town for the annual Missouri Right to Life banquet. We've got their president, Steve Rupp, to tell us how you can help save babies yet to be born at 5:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on NewsTalk STL.
We got rhythm. Fresh new jams. If you think we got ego, well, we're just ham. Skate like he's never on time. He's always sleeping late.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on NewsTalk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 NewsTalk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
Okay, give me a second here. It's not Anthrax, is it?
It is.
It is Anthrax. Okay, I got that part. I don't remember. I know it's Anthrax. That's all I know.
Oh, it's On the Man.
Okay.
It's off their 1987 self-titled album.
Got it. You know, it's funny because with Anthrax, one of the things that so many people remember them from is their appearance on Married with Children. That was more like in the early 90s, but they had a guest appearance on Married with Children. It was really funny.
Well, it's funny because they're always considered part of the big four of thrash metal, but it's like you listen to the discography, it's like, how did they end up next to Metallica and Slayer and I think Exodus or Testament?
Well, the original big four included Megadeth.
Oh, that's
which
right.
split, Dave Mustaine split off of Metallica. I mean, how bad does your drug and alcohol problem have to be to where Metallica went, dude, we can't deal with you anymore?
I think it's just because he wanted to go too jazzy with it. He's like, why don't we play, like, I don't know, 5/4 times? Like, no, we're going to stick at 4/4, Dave.
Right. That's right. Oh, man. All right, 8:50 right now on this Good Friday here. We got a couple things you want to know about, but we got some comments on...
Yeah, we got a friend Tom here that wants to make some comments about downtown.
The downtown, yeah. So if you're just kind of catching on or just joining us here, the broadcasters from the Mets basically pointed out, they're like, we're looking around downtown St. Louis, nobody's here, and people are all mad that they said it. And I'm wondering, does the truth hurt? I mean, what are you mad at them for, Tom? What do you think?
Well, I think the truth hurts, but I think I'd rather go to a ball game at night at Busch Stadium than walk around downtown New York or even Chicago. And I think you're right. I'd have no problem with hanging out in Ballpark Village, but I sure wouldn't wander too far away from that. And but I don't know if you all saw, maybe on Facebook and stuff, J.B. Pritzker's been running promotionals where he's walking the shoreline up there in Chicago, saying how safe Chicago is and all that. That is the biggest crock of BS I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he did that video. He did a couple of those videos, Tom, before the young Loyola student was murdered in that area. So that video came back to haunt him in a really, really bad way, because he was doing his kind of virtue signal marketing, going, yeah, the Trump administration says it's a hellhole. This is really nice. Nobody's getting hurt here. And then that's where a murder happened.
Yeah, that's kind of ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Listen, enjoy. Thank you.
You got it, Tom. Appreciate you being part of the program here. Yeah, and that's the thing is, and there are some specific entertainment districts that, okay, even like in Chicago, I haven't been in a long time. You would know better than I would. Is the Rush Street area, that music area, still all right at night? It used to be fine back in, it used to be okay way back when.
I mean, I try to get out before bedtime.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah, because Rush Street's where you went to get hear all the blues and some of the rock. Wrigleyville, was cool. I don't know what it's like anymore,
So, based on my experience as a young adult with the young adult friends in the St. Louis area, it seems like we'll go downtown for a little bit, but usually right around 9:30ish. Is even if there's a very active nightlife thing going on, we're out of there. We'll go find somewhere that's a little bit more hipstery to hang out, somewhere that's a little bit less of a shady area. So I couldn't even tell you whether or not. I mean, I'm sure during the day it's fine. But
I remember years ago, and this was going back to was this in the late 90s probably? I was doing some business, and I would go to Dallas pretty often. And it was not unusual for me to kind of get bored. We'd wrap up our business stuff and have like a dinner, and we'd be done by 6:30 or 7. And I go back to the hotel, and I'm in downtown Dallas. I'm like, yeah, I'm bored. I'm going to go out and see what's going on. I would just walk through downtown Dallas, in the 90s. It may have been around 2000, I don't know, but somewhere around there. And, there were street performers, and you had some bars that were open. You had some snack shops, that were open. And there was something, and it was nothing that crossed your mind that you're in any sort of danger, even though Dallas is a big city. Now, other areas of Dallas, I wouldn't do that, and I haven't been there in a long time. But, I remember also being in, places like Phoenix. And if you're in the part of the downtown that's not too far from the to the university there, you can walk around. I mean, you don't want to. It's 150 degrees, out there. But, also in other cities around the country now, others like don't walk out downtown in Atlanta. And I've Manhattan, there are parts of it that are very safe in the wealthy areas. I wouldn't walk around Brooklyn at night, daytime. There are some cool things on it. But I've been to a lot of cities around the country, and most of them have downtowns that are what St. Louis wants to become, but they can't for two reasons. One, the leadership won't get out of its way, and two, they just won't fix the underlying problems in the city that cause all of the crime issues and that cause the education, disaster that's happening, and all of those things that are cyclical. And so I don't think them saying we want a vibrant downtown, they're generations away from that. It just ain't going to happen anytime soon.
And the unfortunate reality as well is that it's oftentimes the overwhelming majority of crime comes from a very, very small handful of people that just keep getting away with doing crimes over and over again, the recidivism. So when you have people that are enforcing, or not enforcing, I should say, but they are enacting laws or policies that become more lenient and allow recidivists to keep going back in the streets, you cripple law enforcement's ability to be effective. And then, again, that's how you get areas where people just don't want to have to deal with maybe being attacked by the same person again, or the screaming crazy that is not in a care facility for some reason.
Right. And here's the thing is, like my daughter lives downtown and she knows that I hate it. And finally she's gotten to the point where she's like, yeah, maybe this isn't where I want to do, my adult life, and she's heading into her late 20s right now. And she's now going, yeah, because I thought, it'd be fun and, energetic, and she works in the restaurant and bar business, and now she's kind of going, yeah, maybe there is something to this suburbs thing to get out of downtown.
Yeah, I mean, even when I lived in Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, so they actually have like homeless encampments with tents and stuff, but they also allocate more resources towards policing the area. So it's kind of like as long as you're not causing problems, we're not going to harass you for being homeless. Yeah. And it's a pretty decent ecosystem. But there were people when I was a manager where they clearly had drug issues or some sort of mental something going on. And so they would almost like clockwork. Every couple of weeks you could expect, it's Tuesday, Crazy Carol's going to show up. She's going to be in a bad mood about something. She's going to make it our problem. Police or the ambulance is going to come get her. And then a couple of weeks later, we'll see her again. Yeah. Like that just became, it's Tuesday again. All right, folks, you know what day it is.
Yeah, yep, exactly. All right, real quick note here. We've got a cool event coming up, the Road to Zero Income Tax Town Hall event. Okay, so we've been talking on this push to eliminate the Missouri state income tax for over a year now. I mean, in Americans for Prosperity, Missouri, News Talk STL, we've been partnering with this. Our friends at MoTax Relief now have gotten on board here as well. So we are holding a town hall event on April 30th, which is a Thursday, the last Thursday of this month. Starts at 6 p.m. It's going to be at the Lodge de Pere. I am going to be emceeing this event, moderating this town hall. State Senator Nick Schroer is going to be there. State Representative Ben Keithley is going to be there. Several others are going to be there as well. This is a free event. It's open to the public, but you do need an RSVP. So the way to do that is to go to the Americans for Prosperity Missouri website. I actually put the link in the Rumble chat box, but just look up Americans for Prosperity Missouri, click events, and you're going to find it. You don't have to agree with us to be there. If you've got questions or you want to, in good faith, have the conversation, that's what town halls are for. Now, if you do agree and you just want the information to help equip to tell your friends and neighbors, because what we're talking about is putting this on the ballot in Missouri. So you definitely want to come and bring your questions on that, and you're going to get all kinds of resources. But this is MoTax Relief Now, Americans for Prosperity Missouri, and News Talk STL teaming up to bring you the Road to Zero Income Tax Town Hall event April 30th. That is 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're going to be in and out in a couple of hours. Like I said, I'm going to be there. Love to say hi and meet you. Put it on your calendar. Get your RSVP, and let's make sure that we take the next steps in making Missouri as prosperous as we can be. Have a fantastic Easter weekend, everybody.